Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. It's strange. StreamYard says no one's here. I know a couple of you guys are at least here in the chat, so I don't know, but usually the intro runs for a little longer and it gives people a chance to get here before we start. But for the sake of the replay viewers, I'm going to still play the long intro, but I'm going to play it at the end as the outro. Oh my gosh, I've missed you guys. How are you? Hey, Mayla's mom. Good to see you. I hope everything's okay. I was just thinking about you like yesterday or the day before, and that we're supposed to be drinking our water. Hey, Queen Bella. Good morning. Hey, Ramblin' Roan. Alana. Jennifer. Good to see you. Hey, Sarah. Alicia. Always a pleasure to see you. Hey, Hippie Chick. Destined. Becky. Teacup. Managed to drop my kiddo off just in time, so at least I didn't have to go inside the building in my PJs. Well, I forgot their waters today. Like, as soon as they were gone, I was like, oh my gosh, their waters. Yay. It's always something. Destin says, I need coffee. I need Red Bull. I'm drinking Red Bull. But so I titled this Coffee and Crumb and Commentary today because that's what we're doing. We're going to go over Jenn Soto's police interview. But before we get started, though, I just wanted to talk to you quickly about, did anybody see Brian Laundrie's, the body cams were released of his parents when the police were looking for Gabby and they first came back? If we have time at the end, I want to watch that with you guys because I don't really want to do like a dedicated live on it. And we're not doing our usual coffee and crime today, but oh my God. Duty Ron did a video that was excellent. He compared that dad to Wade Wilson's dad. If you guys missed it, check it out. So today we're going to go over it. Like I said, it's commentary. Behavior panel. The behavior panel is a group of like body language experts who, make videos on usually true crime cases, but other things too. Like pretty sure they did Johnny Depp. Not everything they do is true crime. It's super interesting. So I haven't watched it yet. They went over Jenn Soto's interview. They actually went over, and we watched clips before of them talking about the first interview she did with the news. Well, now they've went over the police interview. And the only thing I've seen, because I wanted to watch it with you guys, so the only thing I've seen are maybe one short they put out. And, it looks like it's going to be really good. It seems like they're definitely calling her out for a thing or two, which is interesting. So I cannot wait to watch this with you guys. We're just going to hang out, watch their video. Of course, pause along the way because number one, we have to for fair use. But number two, that's the whole point. We're here to discuss what they talked about. So if you want to just watch them and you don't want to see me pause whenever I feel like it, because I'm going to, then click the link in the description and you can watch it uninterrupted right there for free. So no, people really get annoyed with me pausing sometimes. And I just want to make it very clear. I'm going to do that. And we're going to discuss along the way anything that we want to, right? And if you don't want to do that, then you can check out their video. It's in the description. Definitely go subscribe to them anyways. They are excellent. Let me put the link in the chat. Let me see if I can actually just get the link to their channel, because if you put that kind of link in the chat, then you can click it without it won't take you out of this live and you'll be able to go subscribe. Hey, Grace, I'm here for your commentary. Well, yay. I can't wait to discuss this with you guys. I'm really looking forward to it because I love this channel. I think they do an excellent job. As soon as I saw it came out, I made a post. We were going to go over it. Since then, I do believe that Grizzly has went over it and probably other people too. I'll see, creators going over what they've talked about for other cases as well. And it's very interesting. Vanessa, good morning. I'll be listening but doing yard work before it gets too dang hot again. It was so nice this weekend, wasn't it? Sunday doodles. Oh, hell, Allie, buckle up. Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'm excited. Rexy, good to see you. Meg, hello. Blanket hello, everyone. Getting kids ready for school. Well, I hope the kids have a great day, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, so I just dropped their link in the chat. And now I know Mayla's mom, because the comments, you really have to, because the comments are brutal sometimes about it. Like I've heard even Grizzly mention it, but honestly, I was kind of, before I'd ever even heard anyone else say anything about it, I was dealing with it too. So it's just something that we deal with. With the calls, people were very angry. We paused a lot listening to Letitia's calls. Hey, Jess, good morning. I hate how I can tell she wants to please all the complainers that don't get it. What do you mean, Destin? Hey, Runs with Scissors, good morning. Hey, Helen, greetings. I'm not here to please them because I'm going to pause whenever I want to. If you're referring to me, I'm just here to say, save the comments, okay? Please don't leave 10 comments under the video that you don't want me to pause. Just go listen in the description. Okay. So let me pull it up and let's get started. I'm looking forward to this. Oh, I love you guys back, Destined. Yeah, I'm not here to please them. I just don't want to deal with their mouth. So please, just like I said, please watch the video on your own. Don't save your comment. And yeah, it is what it is. Okay. Hey, BGOG. So here we go. We're just going to go from the beginning. Look at the thumbnail they used. All right.
We're about to break down and dissect the behavior of Jennifer Soto. Right. You'll probably remember her from a previous video we did. Greg, tell us about the videos we're going to watch.
So in this video, she is being interviewed by the police department. Jennifer Soto is the mother of a missing child at this point, Madeline Soto, who has not yet been found. They don't yet know she's dead. None of this makes her a murderer. She has not been charged to date. Her boyfriend has been charged to date and is in jail, I think, awaiting trial. Okay. That's all you need.
All right. And during these
so I really want to just quickly tell you a little bit about these guys because they do bring it up on the screen. So let me read this to you because I was just about to say, I do believe some are ex-law enforcement, but here we go. They told us. So Scott is a body language expert and analyst. He trains law enforcement and military in interrogation and body language. Okay. Then we have Mark down here on the bottom right, and then they're about to say what he is. So he's an expert in human behavior and body language, communication coach to leaders of G7. Okay. Now we have Chase in the bottom left corner. They're about where it's about to tell us about him. So he is #1 bestseller in behavior tactics, retired U.S. military and trainer to U.S. intelligence operations. And then Greg up here in the top left is former interrogator and resistance to interrogator instructor and author of 10 body language books. So just so we know, we all know, because I actually didn't know. I couldn't remember a little about these guys.
Her boyfriend has been charged to date and is in jail, I think, awaiting trial.
Oh, at least
that's all you need.
All right. And during these videos, parts of them will be blocked out. There'll be some silence in there. So it looks like something's been silent. Sometimes it lasts 5 seconds. That's okay. Nothing's wrong with your computer or anything. It's just they've taken those parts out. I believe the child's name they've taken out as well. So that's what's going on. Here we go.
Hey, lovely.
Wave of depression that I haven't felt in years. It was my bipolar symptoms coming up again that I've been medicating myself for all this time. I realized I forgot to take my meds, and I said, "You guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds." I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep. Suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed, and she typically sleeps on one side, and she'll end up on my side when we wake up. Okay. So I asked her, "No, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep, I had asked Stefan to take her to school in the morning.
What was Sunday? So Sunday you took your meds. What meds, if you don't mind me asking, what meds do you take? And like, how does it, can it put you to sleep deep? Does it help you fall asleep, or does it help regulate you? What kind of happens when you take the meds?
So they do all of the above. They make me sleepy. They help me stay asleep, and they help me function. So I'm stable
Okay.
Okay.
all day. They only work well if I've got a good night's sleep and if I've eaten with them the night before when I take them, or the night I take them.
Mm.
The medication is called Geodon. Generic brand is called Ziprazidone. I took my meds.
All right, I'll go first on this one. And before we get started, I got a little information for you about our great friend, Peter Hyatt. He's been diagnosed with cancer, and he may need a little bit of a good word from you. If you get a chance, get over there at his channel.
That is so sad. I think Peter Hyatt does a similar thing to what these guys do. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I know I've watched a video or two of his before. Also, we're going to be here a while. It's an hour and 24 minutes. But, our discussion adds some time to that. They obviously did not go over her entire interview. So they've picked out parts. It's interesting that they choose the meds. So I'm really curious what they're going to say about that, because you guys know it's like, we've heard that so much, during the course of following along with this investigation and with this case.
And say hey to him that you're thinking about him. And apparently this just happened recently, and he's in the hospital right now, and he's had surgery. He's doing okay. We've been emailing back and forth. And some good thoughts would be awesome if you go over there and just say hi to him and let him know you're thinking about him and praying for him. All right. So I'll get into this now. So overall, she looks tense and stiff. This is sort of, for me, as we go through the videos, it's a great baseline for her, because this is what she's going to go back to every time she has to get focused or starts to protect herself, or here's a bunch of information she doesn't like. This is what starts happening. And it's normal to do this, because when you're nervous, when somebody's being aggressive towards you, you'll do things like this. You'll have your legs together like she does, and she puts her arm across her lap and has the other hand there flat on her lap. And then she's holding that hoodie pocket and kind of goofs around with that. So she's adapting with that. When you adapt with something, any repetitive behavior, anything you do over and over, that's sort of a self-soothing behavior. And then she keeps her elbows and her arms close to her side as well. So all these things let us know she's stressed, but obviously you can see that she's stressed.
Just so you guys know, when it comes to like body language and stuff, what he means by baseline is for them to be able to analyze her behavior, her words, her movements, they need to know how she normally is. So that's kind of what he means by that. Hey, Claus, good to see you. Just wanted to show support. My phone's been dropping a lot. Oh my gosh. I hope everything's okay. And I hope that you're home and everything's okay. I'm so sorry. We love you too. Thank you for being here.
Her illustrators are small. They're not going out in the front. They're fairly small, which lets us know as well that from Albert Frey's studies, that when the smaller the illustrators are and when they disappear, that most likely indicates deception. But in this case, I think she's got so much inner dialogue going on, trying to structure what she's going to say. All the brain power is going toward that, what little brain power there may be. Her voice and cadence seems fairly normal, and her speed, and the cadence is the speed, and her diction's fairly clean as well, because I think she's focused on what's going on and she's trying to protect herself at this point. That's what it looks like to me, just my opinion. Not much moving her head yet. And we hear a couple of the big deep breaths or deep sighs trying to get rid of that.
We all heard those sighs. Really frustrating.
Stress and tension as well. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, let me pick up on those illustrators that you're talking about there, because I think you're right. There's a lot right with them, but there's some issues that I have with them. The baton gestures that she's doing, that's the gestures that conduct along to the rhythm of the speech. Scott, you often say specific words and phrases, but what you don't do during that is specific words and phrases. You're not gesturing on absolutely every syllable. So with these baton gestures, I would say there's, what we might call in medicine a window of therapy. There's just enough at the right time, and there's too many too often. Potentially at the right time, but too many.
All right, you're losing me. You're losing me with
too often. And I would say she's got too many too often in certain places. It's too emphatic, it's too staccato, it's too rhythmic for me to be satisfied about how confident she is about what she's saying. She's almost overemphasizing and trying to be overconfident about it. Now, on what is it? I realized I forgot to take my meds. I needed a good night's sleep, sent them upstairs. So she's really trying to be emphatic around, she realized she forgot to take her meds, she needs sleep, she sent them upstairs. It's illness that was responsible for them being in the same location is what she's really trying to get across to us. It's her illness, her need for sleep, that means these two had to be sent into the same proximity to each other. Now,
I'm so curious how they're going to react to this, because I'm just disgusted hearing him describe it, as disgusted as I've been along the way.
We'll find out, I think, as we go later on, why this is so important for her to get this story across. But she's protesting a little bit too much, too emphatic on this story, I would say, from my opinion on this. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Let's talk about a few things. Of course, we expect to see her feel some stress. She's missing a child. She's being interviewed by police officers, and everyone knows you're suspect immediately when that happens. So she should show some stress. What she shouldn't do is something very interesting to me. I love cadence. Scott, you call it loping. Boom, ba-boom, 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 boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. When a person does a pregnant pause after they say something with a lilt at the end, that's one of two times. A person may say, my good friend Diddy, and then pause to wait and see how you respond. Before, that would have been a good thing. Today, it would be a bad one. The second way that's used is bracing for impact. As I was driving home from the bar, pause and prepare for the impact. Either one of those is a little odd to use in this setting, but she does. She very specifically says that she says, after the bedroom to the guest bedroom, with a question mark, and then a pause. She's waiting for the impact. She knows that's wrong, I think, right out of the gate. This is awkward. This is not natural. This is not normal. I'll just leave it.
Interesting. So by the way that she ended that, they feel like they can tell that she knows she's wrong, and she's expecting blowback from the police, right? She's expecting, kind of lines up with what the first two fellas had to say, that she was kind of bracing for the response from them, right? Interesting.
That one thing. Let me add one more. She does if you own a cat, you've ever seen the cats do that little footstep thing they do? She does that when she's pressed on that question about the bedroom. You see her feet do a little cat prance.
My wife is a private investigator, and I asked her, how do you find out so much information about these people you're looking into? And she said, home address, information, and all of it. DP, well, I don't think for that.
Action is common. I think they do.
Chase, what do you got?
All right.
I think they call that making biscuits.
Maybe.
I think they do.
Oh, really?
But we see her covering the uterus here and reaching across and covering this uterine area. And genital protection is common in situations like this. You'll see men protect a whole different area, which is pretty obvious. So far,
Really? What? Interesting. Genital protection is common in situations like this, like when you're nervous or being interrogated. Wow.
Single thing is about her feelings and how everything affects her. And we're going to see if maybe that's going to change. Maybe it'll be about other people and have a lot of empathy. From her behavior, it seems like there's a struggle with guilt and shame, and I think maybe a deep desire to see some justice served here to somebody else. I think that might be lurking in the background. From what I understand here, she was allowing her daughter to sleep in this bed with this guy, and she's gone through everything she has, then this self-focus might have heavily contributed to the situation happening like that. And when somebody has a hard time with empathy, they tend to make decisions solely focused on how they will benefit. There's still no direct
her very selfish. Yeah, you're exactly right. Her
accusation
selfishness
that
led to this.
I'm hearing from her. So there's a possibility she's seeking justice in some kind of a covert way, and that might be possible.
Yep.
And
Okay. Mark, hey, good morning. Good to see you. Mark says, very true. Also, folding their arms is a sign of protection. Interesting. All right, let's keep listening.
Maybe that she's only doing her best, and maybe she's doing that to ensure she's not seen as a contributing factor to the crime. And that seems like a picture that's trying to be painted right here. I'm not an expert on the case, and I'm only going off behavior here. So just the behavior in this video is way off. So I think it's a good thing that we're not going through evidence here. And
Wow. Okay. That's really interesting. I like that they don't know about the case. I think that's better. But behavior is way off, Chase says.
Just going on the behavior. And keep in mind, we say it a lot, we're not the forensics panel or the case analysis panel. We're just looking at behaviors in these videos.
I haven't felt in years. It was my bipolar symptoms coming up again that I just felt for all this time. I realized I forgot to take my meds, and I said, "You guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds." I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep.
Oh my God.
Suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed, and she typically sleeps on one side, and she'll end up on my side when we wake up.
Okay.
So I asked her, I'm like, no, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep. I had asked Stefan to take her to school in the morning.
We'll go to Sunday. So Sunday you took your meds. What meds, if you don't mind me asking, what meds do you take? And how does it, can it put you to sleep deep? Does it help you fall asleep, or does it help regulate you? What kind of happens when you take the meds?
So they do all of the above. They make me sleepy. They help me stay asleep, and they help me function. So I'm stable.
Oh God.
Okay.
All day. They only work well if I've got a good night's sleep and if I've eaten with them the night before when I take them, or the night I take them. The medication is called Geodon. Generic brand is called Ziprazidone. I took my meds.
Hey, Bendy.
I took my meds. And then I told them to start getting ready for bed, to start heading upstairs and get ready to go. Already almost 11 o'clock is past her bedtime. She needs to go to sleep. So I sent them upstairs. I think he may have come down at one point to pee before bed. And then he went back upstairs. He uses my restroom because the roommates upstairs don't want to share a restroom with a male. Yeah, so he uses my restroom.
Yeah, the roommates don't want to share a restroom with the male, but I'm going to put my 13-year-old daughter sharing a damn bed with him. Sorry, I know we're not going over what she said. It's just so hard when you sit here and listen to her again. We've already heard this, but again, even the second time, I can just feel the anger inside of me. It's.
Sorry, where did I
You're fine. Sunday night he came downstairs, maybe overnight to use the restroom.
Yeah, and then he went back upstairs and they went to sleep. Or right, they went to sleep.
Okay.
I don't know. I went to sleep. I was woken up at some time For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school. But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark.
Wait, wasn't it 9 o'clock? We know that now. It was like, or 8:30. It was still a little dark. That's odd. Allie, I think most of us can feel that anger rising up. Oh my gosh. I really just want to like go over what they have to say, but it's so hard. Mark says, one of the worst interview settings I've ever seen. I've never seen such a comfortable setting. I've always liked a close, uncomfortable setting. So I was thinking about that too. And that's so interesting you mentioned that. So let me ask you, you guys who don't know, Mark used to be law enforcement. Is this like where you would typically talk to maybe like the victim's family that's not a suspect? Because they do seem to be interrogating her in this. This cop is angry. He literally tells her in this exact interview that he doesn't believe her. He thinks she's faking emotion. He thinks she's lying and, not being completely honest. But it does seem like maybe this kind of room would be not for this, like maybe just for talking to family, getting like witness statements that aren't necessarily involved, that kind of thing. Because with Letitia Stalk, they had like more comfortable rooms like that, not necessarily this comfortable, but, and then more like just a desk with 2 chairs type of. I'm curious.
And I was very sleepy when I got up. I was kind of drunk. But
Oh,
he
okay.
came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
Was the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Yeah, the causation of him putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate if you put the leash on him too directly. You have to like be nice and talk to him. He's a very he's a nervous dog. Yeah. So I got up to try to help him, and he said, "No, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this." And I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." So I laid back down and went to sleep.
He's so
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, now we start to see her knowing that this guy's got some pressure on her, but she starts this for a pause. She does she's got her forehead up. I always call that request for approval. It doesn't mean you're lying. It simply means I need input. I need to know that you're believing me as she tells her story. And she has hard eye contact, and her facts start to use your term, Scott. I'll let you talk about what fading facts are in just a minute. But she trails off when she gets to pertinent information. Pertinent information is the only time we hear her voice lower and trail. And Chase, you're going to be all over your 10th shift, so I'll leave that. But I think some of it may be colloquially or maybe even just education. She's got throwaway words when she says, "I sent him upstairs." That starts to make you feel like, why are you lowering your tone when you talk about something that admits guilt in contributing to the problem? Now, some people may do something that contributes to a problem and feel that way if they did it one time and it caused a problem. I think if we pay attention, we're going to find out it's more than one time. And then why the words pee with a lilt and sudden foot movement? He came downstairs to pee. Well, okay. Why the sudden foot movement? Is there a connotation? Is there something tied to that? Likely tied to something in her relationship with him that makes her even feel like she's admitting guilt as she goes. And then she does that withdrawal of the sides of the mouth when they're talking about him using her restroom. That, Mark, you'll call it bitter taste, or we'll call it disdain. And then an edit when she says he went back upstairs and went to sleep with double hands clasped to her chest and her brow up and a head shake. That when she starts trying to deny that she knew it for a fact, that looks like trying to hide some or to create a cluster of deniability. So she's getting out of this.
Wow. Okay. And look, they don't always agree. I've seen like when they've talked about stuff where some feel one way, some of them feel another way. But I'm getting the feeling that Greg is not buying what she's selling. I really don't think he is. I know, lovely. I'm just saying, you said you accidentally called me Allie. I'm just saying you can call me whatever you want. Hey, Angela. I will never understand why they're not charging her with something. I pray it is yet to come. A lot of people feel that way, Cammie. Hey, B Crumbs. If you want to pressure someone, you can't do it a mile away from them. Well, one of you guys had just made a comment. I think this is so interesting. Maybe they were afraid she was going to try to get an attorney, because she eventually did get an attorney. So this interview takes place, I think it was March 1st. Maddie goes missing February 26th. She turns 13 on February 22nd. Let's start there. She turns 13 February 22nd. 13th birthday, February 25th. She goes missing February 26th. He's arrested on February 28th into the 29th, I believe, sometime late at night, but I need to double check that. But I know that it was on that day. I'm just not certain of the time. So I think it's actually the 29th, because it was after midnight. But like I said, I need to double check that. But then we have this interview with her on March 1st. She might have one more. I don't know. But after that, she does not come back and talk to police until April 18th, after they have to subpoena her to be there. And she shows up with an attorney. And, they only get like an hour with her or something. And in that one, there's a lot that comes up and they don't seem as happy with her. It isn't until we hear the interviews from over the summer in July with Stefan's dad that we hear them say they have went through all of her stuff and they don't believe, that she was involved in taking Maddie's life and all of that, or in any of it. I don't believe that they thought she was involved in what he was doing to Maddie, the photos and all that stuff. But it's interesting. Maybe they put her in this like comfortable room so that she wouldn't like just leave and get an attorney, hoping that maybe she would have a discussion with them, because we know that eventually she does get an attorney and they have to subpoena her to be there, which bothers me. If something happens to anyone I love, but damn sure one of my kids, you better believe that I will be involved in every part of whatever I need whatever they need in the investigation, whatever I need to do. Every step of the way, I will be there. I'll do whatever they need me to do, cooperating, whatever. I feel like why wouldn't she feel that way? Like, I'm going to talk to them anytime they need me to. I don't know. I don't like that though. It doesn't sit well with me. If your kid's missing or murdered and you want them to come home, or you want justice for what happened to them, don't you do whatever they need you to do to make that happen? I don't know. I don't like it.
Right here is when I started going, The first one, anybody could have a lot of different feelings when they come in. When you get to this much shaking off responsibility or knowledge, and you supposedly don't know she's dead. This is an interesting kind of twist. Something's wrong, and that you've contributed in some way, likely. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, you're right. The pressure's certainly on for her, because she's pretty much locked down her gestures, locked down her body language, apart from those expressions that you're seeing on the face. However, the baton gestures, again, those gestures that conduct along to the rhythm of the speech, they come up again on she needs to go to sleep. She needs to go to sleep. So obviously some stress around that. I think she needs to enforce the reason that the daughter is in proximity with this boyfriend, this male, and a reasonable reason, which is she needs to go to sleep. So we've got illness, we've got the mother needs to sleep, now the daughter needs to sleep, and I think the idea is it would be reasonable now that the daughter and the boyfriend go upstairs to a room or rooms together. And just, I think, as you were saying, Chase, that we're taken off the path of feeling that she might be contributing to any crime going on. That, sure, it might be accidental, but she's not a contributor. She's not a knowing contributor to this. Okay, fine. But why so much stress on all these reasonable reasons why these two should end up in a very close proximity at this time? Just like
Yeah, it's definitely not reasonable. I feel like they're probably as disgusted with this as we are.
you, Greg, 2 videos in, and I'm very uncomfortable with the story that's going on here and the minimal body language that's going on around this. Chase, what do you got on this one?
She says she doesn't want to share a restroom with a male, but I'm wondering if she's uncomfortable sharing a bed with one.
Yeah.
This was mind-blowing to me, just really unusual. This two-handed gesture that she's doing on
Thank you, Chase. Thank you. Because when she said the roommates weren't comfortable sharing a restroom with him, oh, but you're going to send your daughter to share a damn bed with him. Thank you, Chase.
on the chest here is something you're going to see when people are trying to communicate innocence and sincerity. When it's one hand like this, it's more likely to be sincerity. When two hands are present, it's more likely to be a proclamation of innocence. There aren't studies on this, but keep in mind the studies that you might read are severely flawed. They don't account for real life outside of a college laboratory with college kids. And I say this about this gesture only from experience. I've seen it 1,000.
Chase did get that wrong because Jenn, you're right. Jenn said her roommates didn't want to share a restroom. But my point is, like, I had the same thought he did when she said it, like, wow, but you're going to have your daughter share a bed with him. Remember, they don't know the case very well, which is a good thing. You know, I feel like we'll get a more genuine, like, observation from them, or a genuine reaction. I like it better that they don't know the case.
1,000 times, 20,000 times. When she's doing this hand to chest gesture, you're going to notice something else happening. There's a sudden lack of fluency. There's hesitation. And very quickly, the gestures no longer match up with any of her speech. It's just kind of erratic, and everything is disjointed compared to the way she spoke about other elements of her story. You're also going to hear some fading facts here, which Scott is probably about to educate you in, especially when she says, I was awoken up at some time. I was awoken up at some time. Just in this video, there's hesitancy, disfluency, a sudden loss of confidence. When someone doesn't know a time, they will guess. Even you or any of the friends that you know, they don't know a time. It was about this time. It was about that time. When they won't guess and they give ambiguous details, there's usually something going on there. And the way to tell if something is going on, to see if there are other behaviors present, is to look for that cluster. What we're seeing in this video is called a cluster. We're seeing a cluster of behavior. There's something off about this entire statement, and I'd be digging a lot more into this if I was the interrogator or the interviewer here. Her behavior looks like there are small fragments of truth that might have been borrowed from other times in her life. It's like going to bed, someone coming downstairs to pee. I'm just kind of regurgitating some of those things. That's a very good sign. When you see this shift in tense, I'm doing, I did, he's going, he came downstairs, and it's like present and past mixing up. Typically, the stuff that's in present tense is the truth that's borrowed from other experiences, and the stuff that's in past tense is made up. Scott, what do you got?
All right. That initial deep breath out again. We'll do that like if you almost get hit by a car or a truck almost hits you, almost go head on. Once it's over, you take that deep breath and go, ah. So he's starting to box her in here like early on. So, and I agree with you. He is doing a great job with this thing. So she's trying to get rid of that built up stress and tension. When she's getting specific about the time she woke up, and I think she's changing her story there. Things sound a little bit differently than they did. And then she's
interesting. And we know she did change her story. They actually had to make a deal with her, that they wouldn't hold her accountable for the lies that she told up to a certain point, right? Because she included herself in Stefan taking Maddie to school and that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, I did not do that. I was just there though.
shift intense. I'm doing.
All right. That initial deep breath out again. We'll do that like if you almost get hit by a car or a truck almost hits you, almost go head on. Once it's over, you take that deep breath and go, ah. So he's starting to box her in here like early on. So, and I agree with you. He is doing a great job with this thing. So she's trying to get rid of that built up stress and tension. When she's getting specific about the time she woke up, and I think she's changing her story there. Things sound a little bit differently than they did. And then as she talks about this dog leash thing, she's speeding up. Her cadence gets faster. When we're saying something we know we shouldn't be saying, quite often when we're being deceptive, for whatever reason she might be being that way here, we'll speed up to get through it because we want to get it over with. Your brain goes, man, we shouldn't be doing this. We need to get through this, just get it done. So I believe that's what's happened here because I've seen that before. And it feels weird to me because everything's just flowing right along. And then she speeds up in that, and then it slows back down to where it was. So, and then she puts both her hands under her legs. How often have you seen that when somebody's not in trouble for something? Granted, she knows she's on the hot seat, pardon the pun, but I don't know, man. A lot of things in here that show something's not right, and she's showing she's protecting herself. And when you put your
So, oh my gosh, hold on. Let me let him finish.
hands under your legs, that's a big adapter because that's a lot of weight down on your hands. So that's helping you get rid of that built up stress and tension as well.
So he's saying usually if you see someone who does that, they're in trouble. He said, how many times have you seen someone put their hands under their legs when they're not in trouble? Something, he doesn't also getting the red flags and something's off
As well. And then
kids do that, by the way, the hands under the legs. I've noticed that sometimes if they're in trouble, they will kind of
keeps going. That left arm in Illustrator keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And when you guys are talking about fading facts, like we're seeing here, when she's talking, as you go along, again, talking about what your brain might be thinking as you're telling something that you may not fully believe in, or maybe deception, you'll get quieter as you go along. Sometimes you can go through a whole sentence and it gets quieter at the end like that, or it'll get to the end of the sentence and all of a sudden you get quiet like that. So it's something to pay attention to. It's the volume of the voice as you go, as it fades. And if they're supposed to be giving you a fact and it's fading, it's getting quieter as it goes along. That's why we call that fading facts.
Interesting. Fading facts. Okay. I'm
Right, we're good.
going to keep that in mind.
Right.
Stick it in I'll forget it, but.
Okay, Mark. Damn, that was good.
All right, Mark. Here we go. Hey, Melissa Jade.
I took my meds. And then
I see you
I
guys.
told them to start getting ready for bed, to start heading upstairs and get ready because it was already almost 11 o'clock. It's past her bedtime. She needs to go to sleep. So I sent them upstairs. I think he may have come down at one point to pee before bed. And then he went back upstairs. He uses my restroom because the roommates upstairs don't want to share a restroom with a male. Yeah, so he uses my restroom.
That just makes me so sick. It really does. I'm sorry. Let me let it continue. I'm trying to.
Sorry, where did
You're fine. Sunday night he came downstairs, maybe overnight to use the restroom.
Yeah, and then he went back upstairs and they went to sleep. Or where I think they went to sleep.
Okay.
I don't know. I went to sleep. I was woken up at some time. For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school. But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark. And I was very...
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did that again. Are you kidding me? I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on.
I was woken up at some time. For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready.
I was trying to pause it and say, oh, okay. So now you're going to explain why you had lied previously. And now this is your new story. Okay, got it. Okay.
But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark. And I was very sleepy. When I got up, I was kind of drunk. But he came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
Was the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Not
Yeah.
to pause again, because this is not about her. It's about what they have to say about it. I'm sorry. But if your medicine knocks you out to the point where you wake up drunk, do you guys ever feel that way? Because there are times like I will take edibles to sleep. Okay. If I take too strong of an edible, I wake up and I'm so tired and I feel miserable. It takes me a long time to get fully awake. So I don't like to overdo it. I just take a little bit to sleep. But if your medicine knocks you out like that, why does it matter if your daughter's a wild sleeper? You know what I mean? Why does it matter? Because you're not going to wake up. And we already know from Stefan's dad, both her and Stefan slept like freaking rocks, man. It's just infuriating to hear all over again. I'm sorry. All right, let's keep it going.
Yeah, the causation of him putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate. If you put the leash on him too directly, you have to like be nice and talk to him.
Exactly.
He's a very he's a nervous dog. Yeah. So I got up to try to help him, and he said, "No, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this." And I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." So I laid back down and went to sleep. We'll go upstairs to the guest bedroom upstairs because I just he's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder and a collector. So I have the way that I wanted it to look. Or the clutter just gave me anxiety. So I asked him to go upstairs and he did. And he lived upstairs.
Behavior panel, since you haven't seen the photos of her bedroom. Clutter doesn't give her anxiety. Or if it does, then she must have a ton of anxiety in her own damn bedroom.
Until December of last year. And then he moved to Northport, Florida with his parents. But they had promised him a job, but that fell through. So we were in the process of trying to get him to come back up here to get his job back at Disney and for him to move back into the house for a little bit. And I'm not sure long term. I know temporarily I was willing to accept him back.
Was that something out of convenience for him because you?
A little bit of both. We missed him. And I wanted to help him out, like make it easy, like give him a place, like a base to start at, and then for him to start looking for something else afterwards, on his own. But
All right, Chase, what do you got?
This twirling behavior that we're seeing here with these little, whatever those ropes are called that come out of a hoodie. There's got to be a name for those. Somebody let me know the name of those. The twiddlers. The twirling is more of an innocence play, in my opinion, than anxiety or stress. And the way that she's described, man, I thought Greg was going like this, like pointing at me, and I felt really good about it. And then I looked down at him. There's a Justin.
I was shaking my head, yeah. No, I was shaking my head, yeah. And then I put my hand up to, okay, you're dead on. You're dead on.
You know what?
So they're reading each other's body language as they're reading hers. But Chase is not like I said, he's not having it at all. He's not buying what she's selling. He says that, because people fidget when they're anxious, but he doesn't believe that's what she's doing. He thinks that it's like to appear more innocent. I guess more like, I don't want to say childlike, but you guys know what I mean.
See that I'm going to take this off because I'm wearing the same thing that damn woman is, and I don't want to be. I don't want some subconscious whatever connecting me with her.
Oh, okay.
Doing that.
I agree with you 100%, Chase. 100%. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
I was excited for a second. I was like, oh, he's adjusting his glasses. So
funny, I don't wear these except for here. So,
I know.
You got to Chase. Go on, man.
So the way she's describing his living upstairs is really unusual compared to how her describing sleeping in another bed once was an unusual occasion. I don't know the case, so maybe somebody can enlighten me between those two things. Everything so far seems to be small and focused statements pointing to these flaws in his personality and his abilities. And if you listen close, you'll hear between the lines. He is messy and disorganized. He's unable to get jobs. He's unable to provide for us. He's unable to live the way a person is supposed to live.
Okay.
But I keep a clean house. I'm charitable. I supported him. I missed him. I was still trying to give him a shot. I think she's unintentionally using contrast to help the police know where to look.
Wow, interesting. And on that note, I want to read Sleuthy's comment. Hold on, let me find it. Hey, Trinity. Oh, I'm going to read yours too. Burn. Again, I think of like that meme with all the guys like in a circle. Oh, I'm sorry. Sleuthy says, clutter absolutely makes my ADHD worse and shoots my anxiety up. But that is why I keep it clean and organized. Her house doesn't look like she clears clutter to lower anxiety. It gave me anxiety looking at pics. I completely agree. And, Chase, as he's talking about her positioning herself to be the neat one while Stefan's the messy one, little do these guys know, no, they're both like that. They are like two peas in a pod. Think about it. They really are so much alike when it comes to that kind of stuff. The meds, like this obsession with mental health and medication and just being lazy, blaming everything on your ADHD, anxiety, mental health, oh my gosh. And don't get me wrong, I have sympathy for people who go through mental health struggles. It has touched me personally in ways you guys just, don't even know about. But I don't like it here because it feels very much like an excuse. And it's also not that she doesn't obviously care about her room, the pile where Maddie's crock was, the other crock, because remember only one crock was in the bag. Yeah, no. Trinity says, hey, Allie and chat, I'm behind, but FYI, genital protection is also root chakra related to family and home life. Makes total sense. She knew everything, in my opinion. I like your picture, Trinity. Very strong reactions to her behavior. Very validating to us. Interesting. Hey, Humanimal. Good to see you. Have fun decorating, Trinity. Hey, Jen. All right. I have never seen the behavior panel show such disgust and disdain ever for any of the subjects they're covering. Jen hits a raw note with them, too. I mean, really, she's talking about herself unintentionally. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They are so much alike. Oh, my gosh. Yes, I completely agree. All right.
She's wanting justice and still afraid of coming forward with it. And I'll explain that here in a little bit. The deep, crazy, I was about to say Jungian psychology behind a lot of this crap that's going on right here. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I think there could be a lot of reasons. I agree with you. There could be a lot of reasons why things unfolded the way they did. Still, I'll hold judgment for a little while to say what I think, but I agree with you 100%. I don't think that is stress. I think, in fact, we're seeing as close to baseline as we're going to see in this person, because you can see her when she's telling that story about him moving upstairs and then to the parents. She's showing her baseline. She speaks in fragmented sentences. She doesn't use full sentences with enough detail to explain why something happened. And then she turtles a little bit and does that lilt as she pays attention to him and has her forehead up and she's playing with those strings. She's trying to see that he's following what she's saying. I think exactly that I don't think it's a stress relief. I think she's uncertain how the guy perceives her. And what she's doing is fishing for that approval. When you interrogate, when you're the guy sitting across the table, now you got a couple of options. One is you can put her on the mat. You can go after her and try to get a confession out of her. Likely not what they're trying to do here. So the next thing is to try to build trust. And so you get to choose at this moment, because you're seeing that exactly what Chase is saying. She's trying to show innocence. You either want to build that innocence or you want to slam her feet out from under her and go at her. And that usually doesn't work as well early in the game. She's just explaining why she put him out. Then if you know for sure she's looking for trust, she goes a little bit long term. But when she gets back down to that, where she's talking about giving him a base to get a start, she starts telling, Mark, to your downward tone at the end. She goes downward tone and larger illustrators as she's driving the point. So she's not feeling like she needs approval. She's feeling like she's telling you something. And I think it works pretty well. Scott, what do you got?
All right. Yeah. The goofing around with the hoodie stuff. Of course, he's adapting there. We're seeing all the classics up in here. We're seeing a little bit of head movement. And what it is, her head's pushed forward. Again, what she's doing, where she's trying to look like she's paying attention while she's sort of shut down. She's got direct eye contact, the confirmation nods as she talks, and then the head tilts a little bit while he's talking. So she's giving the impression she's listening anyway. And the request for approval, which is Greg's thing with the eyebrows up. So she looks like she's listening. Obviously, looks like she's into it, but she's into it because she's trying to decide how much information they have, because he's leaking out just a little bit at a time that there's something going on she doesn't know about, or they have more information than she's aware of. And that's one of the ways you do it. And this guy, this is good because we see him, just so you know, as we go through, watch how he boxes her in slowly but surely.
Oh, this detective, you guys know, Detective Kevin, I don't know his last name. He did an excellent job. Like, oh my God, he really did.
Gets her in the corner and she's not going to be able to get out from a logic perspective. And once that happens, you're done. So, and Greg, you covered the part about the voices going up, and she's doing that. Although it's like a combination of loping in that too, as it goes up, which gets on my last nerve. And then she's basically just relaying facts here. I'm not seeing a lot of deception in this. And then I think this is good for a baseline of her just relaying information. So not a whole lot of structuring going on. I think these are things she just knows and are coming out. She's not worried about protecting any of that. I don't think she has to be careful with any of that. So it's flowing so easily out of her. I don't know. It sounds weird, but that's all I got. No, I thought that was as funny as it did. Did that hit you guys weird?
No, we're waiting for Mark.
Sorry, you guys. My dog is just over here. Had it because I have so much to say. It's like I'm over here just trying to let them talk.
Oh, geez, I thought we were done, man.
Okay.
Hang on a minute. Mark, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so used to going last. I thought I'd already been.
Will you quit this pity party of last shit? You're
okay.
You're the
don't
only
mind it.
person who decides who goes first.
I don't mean to sound like I'm not into it. I'm okay.
When it comes to the order we go in, everything is as it should be. And there's only one person who's in charge of the specific words and phrases that decides who goes first in every video.
All right, come on.
Bring forward some in her mind reasons why these two need to be upstairs together: illness and sleep on 2 counts. Now she wants to put forward, I think, a limit to her responsibility or culpability around this in the words that she's saying and the gestures that she's using alongside. She wants to say why he's there and that it's temporary. So she illustrates, he goes upstairs to the guest bedroom, or goes up to the guest bedroom upstairs.
So basically explaining away things that don't make sense.
There's a point up and then a halt gesture on that, and a suppressive gesture, which says, like, don't go any further on that. And this will stop at some point, because later on she says it was a good base for him to be at, and she levels out this base, and then she goes, he was looking for something else afterwards, and does a roll up gesture. So what she's trying to say is, look, he went upstairs, but that's going to stop. That's going to stop very, very soon, because it's only temporary. that's happening here, and he's going to go on to better things. She has better things in mind. She'd always been thinking he was moving on and it was all going to get better. Again, it's about putting forward a reasonable story as to why he's in a potentially too close a proximity to this female, young female, and also that it was already sorted out that this proximity was going to stop. It was only temporary, and that's what she was always thinking. And she was never thinking that there might be something untoward going on. Let's just call it that, untoward going on. Look, clearly she sees the pressure here. Clearly she sees where this is going, and it feels to me like she knows it's going to look bad for her.
But you know what? This is my thing. If she know, like, okay, if they're right about this and she's like over explaining away things that she knows aren't going to look good, then why was she doing it anyways? You know what I mean? Hey, Kim, no worries. The internet is horrible where I'm at, and I have several different kinds, and they're all, it just is what it is because of where I live. Sometimes it's better than other times, and I'm still kind of trying to figure it out. But no disrespect taken at all. That is okay. So I just pulled it up on my phone though and listened along while we were listening, and it wasn't choppy for me. So it's probably just going in and out, and I don't really know, there's nothing I can do about it right now. So, okay. But yeah, if she's like already, like, I think that is what she's doing. I think they're absolutely right. But it just makes you wonder, like, then why are you doing it in the first place? If you know it's wrong, if you're over explaining, trying to give excuses or reasons why this was happening, then why are you doing it?
And she's trying to countermeasure that all the way along. Chase, you've said it before, often when people are innocent, they're possibly not concerned with their innocence. They're possibly not concerned with creating narratives that put them in a good light. They're only concerned with, can we help the victim here? Let's go find that person. Let's get this sorted out. For me, it's weighing a little too much at the moment on her putting forward reasonable stories why she's has no responsibility, not culpable, and these things we're going to move on. Again, don't like it. Doesn't look good. Don't like the look of it. But let's have a look at another, see if it changes.
Can we move on now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Move on.
Please.
Thanks.
Move on.
Dang, that was good, Chase. I'm going to use that for the thumbnail.
Thank you.
We'll go upstairs to the guest bedroom upstairs because he's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder and a collector. So just my house was always a mess and never the way that I wanted it to look. Or the clutter just gave me anxiety. So I asked him to move upstairs and he did. And he lived upstairs until until December of last year. And then he moved to Northport, Florida with his parents. But they had promised him a job, but that fell through. So we were in the process of trying to get him to come back up here to get his job back at Disney and for him to move back into the house for a little bit. And I'm not sure long term. I know temporarily I was willing to accept him back.
Was that something out of convenience for him? Because
But that doesn't really make sense, you guys. Like, we know he hadn't been staying there for a couple months and he had just came back that day. So what is she talking about? Was he planning on staying? Like, as he came back? I don't know. That confuses me. And Kim, there's a link in the description for their channel. They have all kinds of videos on lots of different situations, true crime and not true crime, like the Royals, excuse me, and, just all kinds of stuff. So definitely go check out their channel. And it seems like, based on like the notes at the bottom or the chapters, that the end is going to get a little more intense. But right now it says right now we're on Jenn's strategic body language, then key moments in her interrogation, importance of clear boundaries in relationships, confusion during Jenn's interrogation, suspicions of inappropriate behavior and contradictions. I want to see that. And then Jenn freezes, showing guilt and fear. Now, YouTube makes these chapters on their own, so I don't think the behavior panel created these little chapters here at the bottom. It's based on the conversation and the transcript. YouTube does that. So,
a little bit of both. We missed
really
him,
good writing. So let me know how it sounds.
and I wanted to help him out, like make it easy, like give him a place, like a base to start at, and then for him to start looking for something else afterwards on his own. But
So then your relationship with her was open. Obviously, she's a child. She's not going to share everything.
Yeah.
So,
With him, it seems like she has a very
listening.
open relationship with him. They talk, they hang out. So it'd be okay with you if they...
Aw,
What-
Pointer Lover, thank you so much. Keep on talking and pausing as much as you want. The commentary is the best. Love you, Alex. Oh, I love you too. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Bikram says they talked to her about that, Nicole. I don't remember. There's so much information at this point. I don't recall exactly when, so I don't remember that, but I do believe Bikram's. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I missed it too. Or maybe I didn't miss it. And I just
went out and did things
don't know.
together outside if you were at work or something. So the living situation with them,
Okay.
I'll be honest, seems weird.
Yeah.
It's weird to me. She's got a bedroom downstairs. What's kind of the
Thank you, Bikram.
mindset or the thought process, the communication you've had with Stefan about, she's not going to sleep in her bed, but you guys are going to go sleep in the guest bedroom?
so originally the plan was that all three of us were going to sleep in my bed together.
And I'm not just saying Sunday. I mean, like,
But why? If you don't like him, if he's so messy and annoying and you're just giving him a chance to get his life together and find a place, why the fuck are you planning to let him sleep in your bed with you and your daughter, even with her in there? That makes no sense to me. If I have a friend over at my house, they're not going to sleep with me in my bed. That's freaking weird. And they're definitely not going to sleep with my child. That's even more weird. No. Me and my child may sleep in the same bed so a friend can have the other bed or something like that. But no. There's
okay.
just
So
annoying. Sorry. Hey, Wolfie. I don't know.
I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. No sleepovers, no nothing.
Okay.
For a very long time. For
Mhm.
years.
For the years while he was still abusing her. Right. Okay.
since we're pausing,
Yeah.
what brought that on? Was that a request of his, can we sleep in the same bed, request of hers, or you just saying?
And me being super paranoid, not to trust anyone. For the longest life, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, side eye, making sure, is that normal? Is this okay? That looks normal. Okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I was. But he never requested. I'm sorry. Repeat the question there.
So I guess
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Okay.
I always say the truth needs no support, but a lie loves a crutch. This is more important. Mark, I'm going to continue your last thought because rational acts do not need justification. They just don't. And you also need to know something is wrong to know that you need to justify it. Now we're tying all that back together. Same thing you're talking about, Chase, why people often are like, no, I didn't do anything. They don't think they need to make up details because it's true. This is a good example and a good study in when someone realizes that what they have done is not rational and they're trying to act like it is rational. This is going to be the longest you're going to hear me talk about this one, and I'll try to keep it as short as I can. but her cadence is very quick at the beginning. And watch that other officer, my notes, and Scott, you're talking about too, his foot vibrations looking like a rattlesnake. They're so fed up with watching this. When she starts getting questioned about the arrangements, let's talk about a cluster. She moves to an oblique angle, turns her body away from you, moves to brace on the chair, turtles, her neck goes down inside her body. She inhales, she crosses her legs, she furrows her brow. Her cadence changes to halting. She does a long vowel at so, framing her answer. I do, yes, a lot of times here to frame my answers so that if something steps on me, I got space in there. And it becomes a habit. When a person's doing something to give you that space, she does that long vowel, framing her answer. Then she does 2 bounces of her legs. All that. Already Chase pointed out one earlier that was a beautiful orphaned move. And I agree with Chase. I don't care what college person told you this is not. I've interrogated a whole bunch of people who've done that and turn out to be bad guys. So just knowing that's a fact. So then she goes on to approach, this officer's taking the approach of, I'm an ordinary guy with a rational question. She notices that and starts to defend that night. But then he moves past that night and says, not Sunday. See shock in her face? Oh, I thought that's what we're talking about. And then she does a modified batter on deck and she starts rubbing her thighs and releasing nervous energy like crazy. Moves right into a next big cluster. So brushes her hair behind her ear, touches her face, touches her nose, exhales. All deviations from what we've seen in now. I could keep going on and on and on, but those 2 giant clusters alone have you on notice that she's not being above board at the moment.
Okay. And note, he said, I've interviewed lots of people that did that and they turned out to be the bad guys. That's really interesting. Mark says, holy cow. What kind of answer was that? Who thinks you need to keep an eye on him and your way of doing that is having you all sleep together? Guilty as hell. Yeah, it's weird. It's like if you're just friends and you have all these thoughts on how see and how he doesn't work and he's just such this like whatever, but you're allowing him to come live with you because, for a short period of time, you want to give him a place to go so he can find his own place and get on his feet. Why do you invite him in the bed with you and your daughter, period? Much less your daughter, but that just makes no sense to me. I don't know. I'm with you 100%. And thank you, Greg, for calling it like it is. And thank you, Mark, for also calling it like it is. Mark Milligan was thinking exactly the same. Lordy, keep an eye on him while you are drugged out comatose? Give us a bloody break, Jenn Soto. Martha? Exactly. How the hell are you going to keep an eye on him when you're knocked out so cold nobody can even wake you up? When you're so knocked out, like I said, if any of you guys take sleeping medication or take, like I do, I take edibles to sleep. It's legal, but I'm just saying, if you take too much, or I've been on medication that has done this in the past, I just don't like medication. So I would rather find something natural, but I don't judge anybody who you got to find what works for you. It's individual. But at the end of the day, have any of you guys been on either a medication or something else to sleep that when you wake up, you're still groggy, tired, you feel drunk, takes a while to go away? Like you're obviously taking too much. If you feel like that when you wake up, that's just my thought on it. And then at that point, why does it matter how crazy she sleeps, if she kicks, if she punches, if she rolls around, rolls on top of you? Hell, you're knocked out. Even his parents couldn't handle his disgusting groom. Even his parents said that they knocked out hard. I think maybe they were talking about at the hotel, but I can't remember if it was both of them or just Stefan, but yeah. I was on Lunesta years ago. I was tired 24/7 when I took it. Sometimes it takes a little bit for that to wear off too in the morning. Hey, Kathy. I've been on other sleeping meds like back in the day, prescription that would do that to me. Hey, Crystal. Good to see you. The argument can't be made that she's a nervous person and doesn't do well without her meds and lack of sleep. But she said herself that she didn't search because she needed her sleep and meds. Yeah, she did. She literally said when they asked her in one interview, why didn't you go back out with Stefan when he went to drive around to look for her? Oh, because I needed to go home and get some sleep. What? I'm sorry, that has stood out to me ever since I heard it. You guys know I was raging because who the hell can sleep when their child is out there missing? I mean, eventually you have to sleep. But look, even what I was talking about at the beginning, I wanted to show you guys at the end of this, if we have time. Brian Laundrie's dad, like the body cam came out of when they were looking for Gabby and the parents were refusing to help. Also, Duty Ron like put that up against Wade Wilson's dad. And his dad said that since he found out that what Wade had done, he hadn't slept for days. He just couldn't. He was too upset. I mean, I don't know. And this is her own child. It's odd to me, but I guess whatever. Everyone's different. I know that. It's just really hard to understand some of this, you guys. Okay, let's continue. No moms would sleep on the first night your kid is missing. I agree. I don't see how you could. Seriously, Alex, that hurt my heart to hear that. It really did. No mother would crave sleep over finding her child. It is a pitiful life. Sleep, meds, sleep, anxiety, ADHD, meds, doctor appointment, sleep. Oh, anxiety, ADHD, sleep, more meds, marijuana pills, this, that, whatever.
Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, let me give you a good statement with some gestures that for me would fit and be fine.
And look, I can understand some people need meds and they truly do, and it helps them and it improves their life. But even those people, in my opinion, anyone that is just only focused on meds and their issues and not trying to, I don't know. I just think it's a very toxic way to live. And yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Rule: she's not allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. No sleepover, no nothing. Okay, that for me would be okay, fair. Okay, good. Here's what she says, and here's roughly the wrong with it. I had a rule. She was not allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. No sleepover, no nothing for a very long time. Well, when I do the first one and I do the second one for you, which one feels to you like it has just more integrity to it? It feels more effective for somebody who was, let's say, looking after the complete interests of her daughter rather than maybe both interests or the interest of the boyfriend, skewed to one angle rather than the other. Look, I'll do it again. I had a rule. She was not allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. No sleepover, no nothing for a very long time. So clearly something of the rules disintegrate here. And with those baton gestures, which are going on every syllable at one point, she understands that there is something wrong here. This is not right. Again, just doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Scott, what you got on this one?
All right. She's continuing to adapt to that little string thing happening. I'm hearing something over here on this thing over here. I don't know what it is. It's freaking me out. It might be a mouse or something. I can't imagine we have a mouse in here, but there's something moving on there. So that's why I keep looking over there. Sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Don't you have a dog? Bring your dog in there. She'll play.
Yeah,
that's a small one.
Yeah, she's not here. So, well, anyway, let me start over again. She's continuing to adapt that little string on her hoodie. And even though we can't hear at the very beginning what's being said there, whatever it is a pretty big deal because that completely locks her down. Everything stops. She doesn't move. She freezes. She's in this freeze mode. And I think that's more of an intake mode for her as she's listening. This for me is a huge, I don't want to say a tell because there's so many things going on in there, but this looks like she just has intake happen at this point. She's gathering as much information as he possibly can. Then he asks her about her mindset during on the sleeping conditions. This is where that big shift is. We see the opposite leg cross, and she's repositions on the couch. We see all these things happening, like Greg was saying. I'll try to cover all of them. One hand is flat on the couch, her head is tilted. All these are red flags. All these things that you know something's up because he's hit on something that's made her uncomfortable. We've seen her stress go through the roof at this point. And those are the things you look for when you're talking with someone. You look for smaller things if you're not interrogating them. as you have the conversation with someone and you ask the question or the subject comes up, watch how they move, watch what they do. That's going to let you know a lot. So, and another thing is, Greg just did a list. I'll do my list too. This is a plethora of cues that we see. She's going.
Okay, I want to hear his list of cues, but NYC, baby boomer. So I don't know if it was as a child, but we do know in the evidence dump, there was a photo of a little note that she wrote about her past trauma and how she can't stand to be around men because of it. So something has happened, but I don't know exactly what. I've heard a lot of rumors, like Lil Red, is given one person that she heard or that she, in her opinion, might know about. But I've also heard about a couple other people that could be, and I don't want to throw that out there in case it's not. But I do know there's something there. Yes.
Into this explosion of facial cues. And then we see face touching, hair touching, leg rubbing, leg movement, knee clasping, that big breath out, cadence speeds up. We see the muscles tensing. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. So at one point she puts her palm up and it just stays there. It's just odd because everything is going on in here. She's got that thing up. Now, at the same time, you say, well, that's a regulator. She's saying, hang on a second, I've got something to say or I'm thinking or whatever. But it doesn't come down. We've seen that a couple of times before. I can't remember what the video was. But you remember that one when somebody set their hand up and it stayed there? It was a woman as well. Anybody remember who that was?
Do you notice your little finger moving at the same time?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it.
Yeah, I just can't remember who it is. Anyway.
Was it the woman who said she'd got kidnapped?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Papini.
it was.
Papini might have been.
Maybe.
Something in my mind says Papini might have. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, it might have
Faked her
been.
kidnap.
Might have been her. I
Wow.
can't remember.
So they're comparing Jenn possibly to someone who lied big time and I believe she faked the whole kidnapping. I'm not familiar with the case. I think her name is Sherry Papini or something like that. You guys correct me in the chat because I know, my chat is full of the most brilliant, funny, loving people. And yeah, you guys, I'm certain will know.
Well, anyway, but this could be a regulator because that's when she's talking about the law around her home. The thing she's in charge of is making sure that, what happens and doesn't happen with the child and all that. Don't get me started. So, and then the space between her fingers, that's kind of odd because we see some space in between her fingers there. And that suggests competence. So maybe she feels good about her delivery and thinks she's delivering this the way it should be for his intake to accept it. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. So it's odd to see stress cues like this combined with that that finger spacing. But we see it later on in the same kind of situation where we know she's not being confident. So it's one of those situations where it may not mean what it usually means, the space in the fingers. So, but we don't know that now.
And remember, with body language, it's just an opinion. That's all it is. It's based on these guys have a lot of training. They are very well educated in it, much more than me and, probably a lot of us, but in this in body language and stuff. But again, it's not 100%, but Ben says, oh, cool. Some body language interpreters, they have a great channel and the link is in the description if you're interested.
Because that's what we've seen. This is the first time we've really seen it. We've seen it before, but it really didn't count then. But now it really counts. So we're going to see it count later. We see the same thing. So this may be one of those things that proves there are no absolutes. Just because that happens to mean that's exactly what it means. Scratching your nose means you're lying. Look down to the left means you're whatever they think that's supposed to mean. So that's something to pay attention to there. Then she straightens up like she was in the first clip. She goes back to her baseline of freezing, getting that head forward a little bit and paying attention to what's happening. That's her intake mode. So, and then she gets so lost up in her head as she's trying to structure that answer and make sure she's gotten everything right. She leaves everything behind as she's at the front of that and has to ask the guy what the question was because she forgets. She asks him to repeat the question. So that's odd. And I think she knows this is a dangerous spot for her and she can feel him turn the heat up. That's why we're seeing all this, because she knows it's important and knows it's a big deal. Chase, what do you got?
She starts out with, I had a rule. I think she says, I had rule. I don't think there's an A in there.
Okay.
And she says, he wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. I'll add to your list. I'm mentally trying to remember what you, Greg, and Scott have like listed out. There's also hesitancy, loss of fluency, sudden facial touching, reverse leg crossing, increased rapid hand movement during speech. That's all I can think of that to add to that list, I think. What I want you to pay attention to is, why would this need to be a rule? If she's talking about the rule being there for a very long time, quote, and for years, this means something changed so that the rule could be removed. It's been there for a very long time. I had a rule. There's something really bizarre going on here. It's hard to piece together with the audio gaps, but having a rule that you have to communicate that you can't go to sleep with someone's
Look at Greg.
D means there was pressure or
Go to
requests.
sleep with someone's D. What does that mean? But no, I agree with him. Like, there is something way off if you even have to have a rule that there are no sleepovers with this grown fucking man in your house. I mean, what? That's a great point. And I actually didn't even think about that, because there's so much other stuff that that we're thinking about and discussing along the way. But the fact that there even had to be a rule to begin with, huh? Like, I certainly don't have any rules that my kids can't sleep with grown adults. I don't know. That is so weird, you guys.
Or at least a strong enough intuition, that the rule needed to be made in the first place. For this to happen, I can only imagine what had to transpire for a rule to be in place. If a grown man in my home needed a rule to somebody that age, they'd no longer be here or they'd be dead. Parents who are feeling...
Oh my God. I can't believe he's never that fed in my soul. They'd no longer be here or they'd be dead. Period. It's not even up for question if my kids would ever sleep with an adult. Any adult. That's not me, right? But go Chase. Go.
Unsure or have trouble setting boundaries might be more easily manipulated by a partner in this way. And a lack of clear boundaries between kids and a new partner is a gigantic red flag. And inappropriate closeness is a cause for alarm every time, every single time. There is not an exception to this. Any kind of inappropriate closeness should be the biggest alarm of your entire freaking life. Every time.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
So then your relationship with her was open. Obviously, she's a child. She's not going to share everything.
Yeah.
With him, it seems like she has a very open relationship with him. They talk, they hang out.
Here you go, Sunday. More redactions. That's what he was talking about with the long pauses. Michelle, that's my guy, Chase.
So it'd be okay with you if they went out and did things together outside, if you were at work or something?
Seems like they chose a lot of parts with,
So the living
there's
situation,
so much that wasn't redacted.
the living situation with them, I'll be honest, seems weird. It's weird to me. She's got a bedroom downstairs. What's kind of the mindset or the
Here
thought
we
process?
go. Hell yeah, it seems weird. It seems weird that there are several people with their own fucking bedrooms, even this man who hasn't been there for months. Why isn't that her room? Why wasn't bedroom number 4 her room if he hadn't been there for that long? I'm sorry. This is not about that. It's not about her interview, but it's so hard to watch this. Like, I just...
The communication you've had with Stefan about, she's not going to sleep in her bed, but you guys are going to go sleep in the guest bedroom.
Yeah, you think?
So originally the plan was that all 3 of us were going to sleep in my bed together.
Why?
And I'm not just saying Sunday, I mean like.
Oh, okay.
In the past, yes.
So I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. Like, no sleepovers, no nothing. For a very long time. For years.
There's her hand up. That's what they're talking about. There should not need to be a freaking rule. Sometimes they'll replay what they played after they talk about it so you can watch it again. That's kind of how they used to do things anyways. I haven't watched them for a while. KPM, I want to comment on this. Jenn's roommate said that Jenn couldn't sleep without Maddie. So I have not listened to their audio interviews. I have only read the summaries from their interviews. I've read them several times. We went over them several times. I could pull them up easily and find their, the police summary of their interviews, but I haven't listened. That is the biggest load of shit I have ever heard. How come then, when Stefan was out looking for Maddie, did she not go because she wanted to sleep? She needed to get some sleep. And I'm not directing this towards you at all, KPM. I'm just saying, obviously that's not true. And even if she couldn't sleep without her, let's just say that, then how did she do it? Why did she send Maddie away to get sleep? So the roommate's obviously ill-informed. But even if she couldn't, could Maddie not have bedroom number 4? Could you not have a normal room with the door? You just leave it open for a guest room for Stefan who hasn't been there in 2 months? I don't understand that. Doesn't really make sense. Or were you too lazy after he moved out to move her in there? That could be it. I don't know. But she should have been in her own room. At 13 years old, when kids are little, sure, they don't need a lot of personal space. You can share a room with them. Even at my old house, Bentley's room, he never went in it except for to play. Fine. He was a baby. But at 13, they really need their own privacy. My son, he's 15. He gets privacy. Now, don't get me wrong. He's not allowed to lock us out of the room or anything like that. Sometimes he wants to go in there and shut the door, talk to his friends. I don't know. Kids need that age. You need to give them a little bit of their own personal space. In my opinion. I mean, I'm not an expert, but damn, come on.
Since we're pausing,
Yeah.
what brought that on? Was that a request of his? Can we sleep in the same bed? Request of hers? Or you just saying?
Me being super paranoid, not to trust anyone. For the longest life, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, side eye, making sure, is that normal? Is this okay? That was normal. Okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I was.
Nope. It's not normal for your child to snuggle a grown man. Nope. Not normal. Not at her age.
He never requested. I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess
So now the new.
I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess when you said you had a rule, obviously we know now they've slept in the same bedroom together and everything else. I'm sure you're questioning a lot of things that you haven't been told or that are going on. The thought process of them sleeping in the same bedroom caused you to say that you had a rule for the longest time where they couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a son. He's a lot younger than her. He's 4. But I guess if I was dating somebody or had somebody over, I would never establish, this is just me, a rule. He can't sleep in the bed with her, or she's not going to be. It wouldn't even be a thought process for me. So that's why I ask, because I wouldn't think of it even as an option.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what prompted the rule.
Sleepovers before. Yeah. You want to watch movies and eat snacks? Can we do that? I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all sleep down here together. Up until June, together all the time. So we were always. She would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her no. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually at some point, like we really want to watch, I forgot what movie it was. They really wanted to watch something and I was really tired. And I said, okay, fine. Go ahead, but this can't happen often. And yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him. But honestly, I think I can count on one hand how many times that's happened. And it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a slumber party with him, to be alone in a bed with him. I'm usually around all the time.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so big change in behavior here. She starts adapting on the hoodie in a different way, starts to pull it down, protect, chase that uterine area, genitalia area. So under more stress again. And then she leans right forward, I think elbows on knees, hands supporting the head there. It kind of looks like extreme interest. And it may be that in terms of her feigning, oh, I'm super interested in this. This is getting somewhere. But I think it might be also or solely just even more protection. Because I think at this point, she understands this interviewer is getting closer and closer and closer to her having the possibility of knowledge of abuse. And at this point, I think it's now getting too much for her. And therefore, these two big spikes in very different behavior.
I would just want to say, so Chris had said she's been sleeping on the couch for 7 years for her kids to have their own rooms. This is what we do as moms. My situation has been unique at points in time where, I've shared rooms with my kids or whatever. And I don't know. It's really frustrating because that's usually what we see. And at this point, we see the opposite, and it's super selfish. There was something else I paused and wanted to say, but my dog has came over here jumping on me and taking my attention. So let me lay down, calm down. And if I think of it, I'll
Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. Here's a bait question here. He's getting close and she can feel it, man. And so he puts that little mind virus in her head about how she may not know all they know and that kind of thing. And, oops, sorry. I'm trying to do all this stuff on my scribe and it keeps falling over. If you hear that banging around, that's what it is. So, so that's what's happening. He's getting close and she's feeling it. She knows it. And then this is where and you guys may remember this. This is the way she looks. It's the very same way I looked at Chase's wedding when Spidey came in and said, look, man, I got a bag of tricks and they're just for you. And he sat down for about 30 minutes in front of me and just did magic tricks for like 30 minutes, just me and him. Oh, God, it was awesome. And that's the way she looks, except hers looks like you're saying, Mark, that's fake. She's trying to look like, yes, I want to help and tell me what all's happening here. No, that's not. Believe me, I was there. I know how that looks and feels. We're not seeing everything on her that we should be seeing. So, but she knows this is a dangerous spot. She sees that coming up. So when she realizes he's not attacking her, but he's just giving her this information, I think she doesn't understand what's happening. It's designed for that. That's why she doesn't understand it, because she's not supposed to. But she doesn't know what's happening at this point. It sort of mixes her up. And then when he talks about the snacks, that's when she relaxes and her illustrators get larger, because I believe it's, when he starts talking about that, she sort of eases up, the heat's off at that point. Again, a lot of space between the fingers. So it hasn't changed from when she was stressed to when she wasn't stressed. So I don't think in her case, I don't think space between the fingers has anything to do with confidence at this point. So, but I think she's being honest about the snacks part of it. And then she scratches her face, and then notice him, he mirrors her. So I don't know if he did that on purpose or if it was just natural because he's so focused on her, because he's paying a lot of attention. Watch his feet. He's getting excited at this point because those feet are going up and down. They're patting up and down there. He's excited, but he's totally holding it together really well. This guy is really impressive. What he's doing is super impressive, I think. Holding that together, not getting upset. Nothing's really changed with his tone or anything. He's right on top of it. Then she whispers while she's telling him, that she let her daughter sleep upstairs. So And in that part's not fading facts at that point. She's just she knows that's bad and she's embarrassed and that's shame and guilt right there. So I'll stop talking right there because it's going to get ugly if I don't. Chase, what do you got?
So we're the behavior panel. So I'm going to take.
Let me replay that, you guys.
You know, because he's paying a lot. And so I don't think in her case, I don't think space between the fingers has anything to do with confidence at this point. So, but I think she's being honest about the snacks part of it. And then she scratches her face, and then notice him, he mirrors her. So I don't know if he did that on purpose or if it was just natural because he's so focused on her, you know, because he's paying a lot of attention. Watch his feet. He's getting excited at this point because those feet are going up and down. They're patting up and down there. He's excited.
They're even analyzing the detective.
But he's totally holding it together really well. This guy is really impressive. What he's doing is super impressive, I think. Holding that together, not getting upset. Nothing's really changed with his tone or anything. He's right on top of it. Then she whispers while she's telling him that she let her daughter sleep upstairs. So, and in that part's not fading facts at that point. She's just she knows that's bad and she's embarrassed and that's shame and guilt right there. So I'll stop talking right there because it's going to get ugly if I don't. Chase, what do you got?
So we're the behavior panel. So I'm going to take this opportunity to dissect some of the internal behaviors that might be at play here overall. And it might help somebody out there in their life that I've never met, that we'll never meet, that maybe you're watching this video. Okay. So first of all, there's a lack of boundaries. If a mother's never learned how to protect her own emotional space, I hate to sound pop psychology there, but she may not know how to protect her daughter either. She might not recognize when she needs to step in or stand up for her kid if she doesn't have a clear sense of where those lines need to be drawn. That's very important. The second piece of this is insecurity.
Yes.
Insecurity can make somebody feel small and powerless. And for a mom, this might mean have to stand up to somebody harming a child. She might doubt her own instincts, and maybe she's afraid that if she speaks out, she's going to lose approval and affection and maybe her sense of stability in life. And third, I think there might be denial here. So denial is what happens when the truth feels obviously too painful to face. And a mom might convince herself that the harm isn't as bad as it seems, or that somebody's going to bounce back from it. And sometimes it's easier for somebody to look the other way because the
absolutely agree with that. Oh my gosh, yes. If she didn't know, I believe that's exactly what was happening. You know, maybe she was trying to convince herself, or it was, like he said, too painful to face, which that's kind of how I honestly see the situation. Like she knew, but didn't know, like she knew, but wouldn't face it, or was like in denial. But I really appreciate him taking a second to let moms out there know that, you know, if you don't have a sense for these boundaries that need to be there, you should, that it's very important to keep your children safe. And I know women who, oh my God, there's one in my family who has a small child who would go on a date for the first date and bring him home and let him spend the night with the child there. And it infuriates the hell out of me, even sleeping in the bed together with the child. Okay. And this woman just is too trusting and would, because I had talked to her about it, and I got the, no. He's not like that at all. He's a really good guy. Like he's like already like, you know, doing things that dad would do and just helping so much. And I can tell that he cares, whatever. No. Even if you think he is a good guy, that is unacceptable. And these boundaries are so important to have, even if the person is a great person. So you have to protect your kid. At the end of the day, that's what's most important. Who gives a damn if the person's feelings are hurt or whatever by the fact that maybe you don't want to leave them alone together or let them sleep together or whatever. Get over it. At the end of the day, it's about protecting the child. Mark, if you don't have the self-esteem to protect yourself, then you can't protect your children. That's why I said, B Crumbs, are you hearing this? Because we have talked in depth about low self-esteem being like a contributing factor to this situation. I truly agree and believe that it was.
Confronting reality might mean dealing with guilt or shame or trauma from their own past or something like that. So here's why it happens. A lot of the time, these patterns come from a mother or father's own unresolved crap from societal pressure, tells somebody to stay quiet, put other people first at all costs. There's cognitive dissonance, feeling torn between protecting your daughter, avoiding conflict can freeze somebody into inaction, especially somebody who's been through a lot. And maybe she might not even realize the harm that's unfolding because of this. And I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Maybe that's what's going on in a deep sense.
I can appreciate him playing devil's advocate and looking at all sides. It's honestly not fair to not try to see from all perspectives what could be going on here. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be honest. We wouldn't be able to get, I don't know. I just feel like it's always good to listen to all sides, look at all sides, even like politically, let's say. Your opinion can even be like a genuine, true opinion if you don't have the facts. It's just silly bullshit at that point, and you need to have it from all sides.
When somebody does something bad, we have an instant and innate sense to judge them and think that everything contains malice and a desire for harm. I don't think most of us are wired that way. So I just wanted to take a different angle at this. Greg, what do you got?
Before we hear Greg, this is important. Mark says evil men prey on that, and that is how they control situations like this. So sad. Yes. A predator finding a woman with low self-esteem with a daughter. I mean, that's like winning the lottery for real. Because when a woman has low self-esteem, it's easier to, I don't know, it's just the way it is. It's easier to control the situation, and she's not going to really stand up for herself. She's unsure of herself, so she's not going to stand up for her child. I don't know. That is like winning the lottery to some of these predators. Hey, Jonesin, good to see you. All right.
Yeah, I'll be the first guy to say you don't have to have malice to do something stupid, but you have to recognize it's wrong to be able to validate it. And that's what we're seeing in spades here. This person is not somebody who's saying, well, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Look, everybody does this. Not that at all. She knew it was wrong. Now, whether she made a mistake, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But she's covering it up, and we can see it. Because here we see a threat is clear. She starts to brace. She shrinks. She barriers. She crosses her body. Mark, I'm with you. That adapter becomes so pronounced that you know it's now stress relief and comforting. The turtle, as this thing gets more and more powerful, we call turtling when your neck sinks down into your body and your head lowers. We can see a lot of that. Her cadence increases like crazy. It goes through the roof. And then when she gets back, Scott, I'm with you. When she gets back to that up until June, that looks like baseline. Larger illustrators, hand use, spread fingers and thumbs. Then she does all the way back to video 1. She does that pause before she says request for sleepovers. That's bracing for impact. I'm telling you, she knows it's wrong. She knows she's in a minefield, and she sets herself up right there.
I have to pause for this. Mark said, Alex, I'm so going to use that line. If you don't have the facts, it's just silly bullshit. It's so true though, right? Because you're like, how can you even have an opinion if you don't know? It's just like pointless, silly bullshit. That's the best way I know how to put it. I freaking love that. It's funny. Okay.
That's one you can walk away with. And anytime you're talking to somebody, they do it, ask yourself, are they trying to do it for impact? Hey, I know somebody really cool. They're trying to do it for, I don't know how this is going to be received, but there's a reason when that happens. Listen to that. Listen to it very carefully. And she pauses. If you then look at the speed of that illustrator as she's talking about the sleepovers. Look how quickly her hands are moving. Then she does face touching, leg crossing, fidgeting, turtling, and moves to the most irrational argument I've heard in the entire night. And that was, it only happened a few times. That sounds like a person who's groomed a child or somebody who's done something inappropriate with children. It only happened a few times.
Wow. Damn. Burn. Hold on. I pulled up a meme. When they do get her. Oh, B Crumbs, thank you for gifting. He said that Jenn's, yeah, wow. That sounds like someone who's groomed a child. I wish I could find the other meme I was looking for, but I haven't found it yet. Hey, it's not rocket science, dude. B Crumbs, thank you for being a member 17 months, and thank you so much for gifting.
Well,
Really
one
now.
time. One time is all it took. That's all I got.
What was that?
Yeah, why are you laughing?
What was that you were drinking, man?
I was wondering myself. What's going on?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question then.
So I guess when you said like you had a rule, like obviously we know now they've, slept in the same bedroom together and everything else. I'm sure you're questioning a lot of things that like you haven't been told or that are going on. The thought process of them sleeping in the same bedroom caused you to say that you had a rule for the longest time or they couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a son. He's a lot younger than her. He's 4. But I guess if I was dating somebody or had somebody over, I would never establish, and this is just me, a rule. He can't sleep in the bed with her or she's not going to be. It wouldn't even be a
Thank
thought
you.
process for me. So that's why I
Makes
asked,
no
because
sense.
I wouldn't think of it even as an option.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what
I
prompted
got some
it.
more memes for y'all.
Sleepovers before. Yeah. Like, you want to watch movies and eat snacks. Can you do that? I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all sleep down here together.
What? No. Okay. No.
Up until June,
Okay.
together all the time. So we were always, she would sleep in the middle. I would sleep on this side. He would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
I don't know how I don't think we discussed this when we watched this interview, but let me just say, so he got his bedroom in June. Oh, can you imagine how excited he was at that point? Because he had been abusing this baby for years. Let's call it what it is. 4 years, since she was 8 years old. Since 2020. B Crumbs, thank you for gifting again. That's super sweet. Appreciate that. Why is she in the middle? Yeah, it's kind of weird. She's like in the crack. Jenn's always sending Stefan somewhere. She's not his mom. His request for sleepover started. Yeah. The request, she said, but I think, here, I'll rewind it about 10 seconds.
Okay.
At his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I started telling her no. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually at some point,
I don't know, B.
like we really want to watch. I forgot what movie it was. They really want.
So on StreamYard, we don't get to see who gets the membership, B Crumb. So I can't tell. Maybe the chat can tell you. Sometimes it takes a second for someone to get them, but I don't know why. It's like a lag in YouTube, but it eventually works. Let me know.
Wanted to watch something and I was really tired, and I said, "Okay, fine. Go ahead, but this can't happen often."
Oh my God, no.
And yeah, I allowed her to go upstairs and sleep with him. But honestly, I think I can count on one hand how many times that's happened, and it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a slumber party with him, to be alone in a bed with him. I'm usually around all the time.
Oh my God. I don't know, Jess. I think we will. I think I have a theory, a working theory.
And I heard something in the kitchen, but I don't know who that was.
Which we talked about today. But I guess there's other concerns.
If that's so, just quickly, Jess said, I wonder if we'll ever know why this happened. That's what I was responding to. I know some of you guys aren't looking at chat, so that can be a little frustrating hearing somebody answer and you don't know what they're talking about. So just so you guys know, I don't know if we'll know. I have a theory of why this happened, a working theory that's changing, all the time. But if I'm right at all, I do believe we'll find out, but I don't know. Who knows? I mean, he could testify. He could not testify. He could plead insanity, which means plead not guilty by reason of insanity, which means he's admitting he did it. And maybe at that point, he'll explain why, what he was thinking. I don't know. It's hard to say. But if I'm right, I think we will know, but I don't know if we'll hear it from him as a fact. I just think with the evidence, it will be obvious why he did this, or, with it. Like when something doesn't have to be said for you to understand that it's true. Okay, sorry, you guys.
Right?
Yeah.
You are nervous. The police have showed you their hand. They said, Stephanie, we want your phone. Stephanie, we want to talk to you. We're going to lock down your residence. You can't go back inside. Me? I don't care if it's the love of my life sitting next to me. I don't care if it's maternal grandma. If the police come and take my mom's phone and my son's disappearance, I'm not going to offer my mom a lawyer. That's nuts to me. That to me shows you prioritizing stuff. Because at that point, you became more worried about him being falsely accused than any. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Whether or not that's what you felt. Does that make sense? People having lawyers is their constitutional right. That is a thing that everybody is afforded. But for somebody who's going through what you are going through, to offer him a lawyer leads me to believe that there may have been a conversation, there may have been knowledge, or there may have been some inclination that you had, whether it be his involvement, her location, or something to where in your mind there's guilt.
I promise you,
Because you offering him a lawyer is very weird.
I know.
Here we go. Yes, it is.
That was still me.
Yes, it is very weird, and I can't wait to see what the guys have to say. Thank you again, B Crumbs. That is really freaking sweet of you, and I appreciate it. And you don't have to do that. Thank you so much.
Under the assumption that I think at one point you guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there? What if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was a good guy still, but clearly he's not.
You wanted to think he was a good guy still after you saw pictures of him and your daughter having, oh my God, I can't even say it like that. After you saw pictures of him abusing your daughter. But I'm sorry to yell at you guys. Oh my God, she makes me so mad.
You guys have told me
what?
And have shown me. I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth right now.
We know he's a piece of shit now.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, Scott, I'm going to leave to you that single shoulder shrug. I have very little, but you see that respiration and tap dance she does that shows stress. It's almost like she's got a little show going on the floor. She sounds like she knows he did this sexual thing, but nothing evil. She said those words. Hold on. Are you grading?
Yeah, she totally said those words, Greg.
The levels of evil, so you're not complicit in the worst of them?
Yeah.
That's the most dumb rationalizing dissonance I've ever heard in my entire life. Scott,
so
what do you got?
It's not just me who's getting infuriated or getting aggravated and thinks this is total bullshit. This part of the interview, like the blood pressure is rising. My blood pressure, probably your guys' blood pressure too. All right, let's see what Scott has, I think he said.
All right. She says, I heard someone in the kitchen, but I don't know who that was. That's when we see that single shoulder shrug and her chin toward it. Now, I'm always saying that was pointed out to me. And Joe Navarro even talks about it. Every time I've ever seen that, that person is being deceptive. Every time I've ever seen it. Every time we've seen it on here, I've been under the impression that person's being deceptive. And so that's what we see right out of that gate on that one. She's talking about she didn't know who it was when she heard someone in the kitchen. She knew exactly who it was. And then we're seeing what looks like, again, that freeze response that she clicks down into when he says, "You're nervous. The police have showed you their hand." That's when she freezes because they have, and she knows it. So she at this point, this is where he's closing in on her, and it gets good. So after that, she gets back to her original freeze position that we saw in video 1, and that's her hands on her lap, her legs together, and that tilted head that she's going to. So that's become sort of a baseline for her freeze up as we go through this. I think all this has overwhelmed her brain, and she's afraid she's going to look guilty. That's why she's doing that, because she doesn't know how to not look guilty. She hasn't thought about that, or she thinks if you look guilty, if you do anything else, that's what I think her positioning there is about. That's why she looks like a guilty mannequin. But I think he's doing a fantastic job as he sees this happening. Now, if you listen to what she says she says she doesn't believe what he did was evil. So she says, what if he did this stuff? Fine. But what if somebody took her? So she's saying all the stuff he did, fine.
Right.
What if he did that? That's fine. But what if somebody took her? That right there told me everything about what went on in that house and what you're dealing with, the mindset that's going on in there, what kind of headset we're dealing with in there. So that sort of shut me down from then on about it. I don't see how this guy's keeping his cool with all that. I do, but I mean, it's really tough. So with this is where he tells her that he knows she has guilty knowledge. And then that's why she tightens up. That's why she straightens up. That's why everything shuts down. That's why she starts acting like that. That's why she goes into that freeze.
Even he doesn't know how this guy is keeping his cool. So it's validating in a way, Because I sit here and I'm like, okay, I'm getting on here and yelling and screaming over this. Like, it really gets me angry. And I know you guys are angry, and I know they're angry. So I know I'm not the only one.
And because she knows that he knows. That's why we're seeing so many odd behaviors in there. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, it's just that one line that you said there, Scott. What if you did this stuff? Fine. I can't think of a way. I'm Chase. I'm usually pretty good at catching the good in most stuff.
Adrian.
I can't talk this one round. I can't find a way to kind of go, okay, here's the opposite end of this. Here's why this might have some real integrity, something good about it. Here's what she really meant by this. Here's what, no, can't find it. What if you did this stuff? Fine. It doesn't, I can't do anything for you on this one. That's just bad. That's just not going to go well. Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, totally agree. And the investigator here, I love this guy. Yeah. He's highly trained or has some kind of a skill.
Same.
If it's natural skill, I'm even more impressed. So rarely we see somebody who clearly articulates where attention is paid and where priorities lie.
Oh my God, Chase. Yes, we love him too. He is incredible. I cannot wait to watch him on the stand. I'm telling you.
Even checking in with her each step of his way to make sure she understands his train of thought. Scott yells at me about getting this microphone too close, and now I'm self-conscious about it.
But just knowing that this officer cares like he did, and he was so, I don't know. I appreciated him so much through this.
Adjusting it.
That's okay. I'll fix it.
We've seen some bad ones.
Thank you so much. So she says she's missing out there. It's a weird use of words. There's all kinds of behavior here. I'll leave it to you guys. This has several red flags. I'd be moving for the confrontation and shifting from interview to interrogation mode here.
Yep.
And I'm going to be straight with you. I want to do this in a way. I'm going to give you a monologue if you guys will allow me to just go on and show you what a monologue in this instance might look like from the hip. So one of the first steps of like launching into interrogation mode is this lean in here. So I'm going to do a little lean in for you. And it might sound like this. You know what, Jennifer, I'm going to be straight with you. I know this is hard, but we need to clear something up. I've seen a lot over the years, and no mother lets this happen unless she's protecting somebody. And I don't think you wanted to believe that he could do this, and I totally get that. Maybe you froze. Maybe you didn't know what to do. By the time you realized what happened, it was too late, and you made a choice to stay silent, and I know why. You thought if you pretended nothing was happening, it might just go away. I would have felt the same way, but it didn't. Your little girl was gone, and you weren't ready to face that. So you did what you thought you had to. You did what you thought you had to. You protected him. And when she was reported missing, you had another choice. And I know you love her, but the only way to show her that love now is by giving her peace. And we both know she didn't vanish. She's been left somewhere. And it's been eating at you ever since then. And I know you're scared. You're scared of losing everything, scared to admit what you know, but this isn't going away. And you still have a chance to do what only a mother can do. And that's give her peace. Because right now, every day that you stay silent, you're choosing him over her. That's what a monologue sounds like.
And I heard something in the kitchen, but I don't know who that was.
Which we talked about today. But I guess there's other concerns. Right?
Yeah.
You were nervous. The police have showed you their hand. They said, Stefan, we want your phone. Stefan, we want to talk to you. We're going to lock down your residence. You can't go back inside. Me? I don't care if it's the love of my life sitting next to me. I don't care if it's maternal grandma. If the police come and take my mom's phone and my son's disappearance, I'm not going to offer my mom a lawyer.
Nope.
That's nuts.
Me too.
That to me shows you prioritize, because at that point you became more worried about him being falsely accused than any. Does that make what I'm saying? Whether or not that's what you felt. Does that make sense? People having lawyers is their constitutional right. That is a thing that everybody is afforded. But for somebody who's going through what you are going through, to offer him a lawyer leads me to believe that there may have been a conversation, there may have been knowledge, or there may have been some inclination that you had, whether it be his involvement, her location, or something to where in your mind there's guilt.
I promise you,
Because you offering him a lawyer is very weird.
I know. That was still me under the assumption that I think at one point you guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there? What if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was a good guy still, but clearly he's not. After everything you guys have told me and have shown me, I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth.
We know
right
that now. We know he's a piece of shit now.
All right. We've watched the videos and made up our mind about what we've seen pretty much. Mark, what do you think we've seen so far?
Yeah, listen, just one thing sticks with me, and I think it's worth saying, is whenever you introduce anybody new to your home, especially your kids, predators, the main thing they need is access. access. That's what it's about. First of all is access.
Yep.
So always know when you're introducing somebody new to your home, especially your kids, you need to be thinking, and it's an awful thought to have, but you owe it to those kids that you look after, that you have real responsibility for, to bias towards the negative and always be thinking, is this somebody trying to get easy access as a predator? It most likely won't be, but you want to keep up that thought process for as long as you possibly can, and then even a little bit longer. Better to be very safe than very sorry or culpable in the end. Chase, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Always ask who people are. And if they're getting close to your kids, you need to have a direct conversation about that. I think it's okay to talk about that with your kids. One of the things I tell my kids throughout their whole life growing up is, if a grown-up asks you to keep a secret, you need to be terrified. You need to be very, very scared of that. Any grown-up in your entire life asks you to keep a secret, unless it's a Christmas gift, you need to be.
Okay, so Mark says he has groomed her into protecting him and justifying all his actions. And I completely agree. And it's to the point where she seems to always have so much empathy for him. Even when she talks about, like, oh, you know, that night we couldn't eat, like he barely ate anything. Just, she has so much empathy, care, consideration for his poor little self and what he's going through. But then it's like she's completely detached from what Maddie might be going through. That makes sense. Like, oh my gosh, it's truly insane to see the way that she talks about him and constantly gives him excuses and so much sympathy and empathy. It's just,
You need to be very scared. Inside of this woman here, there's so much conflict and internal turmoil going on. I don't think there's much empathy, but I think there's some kind of internal struggle about allegiances, and I need to maintain some kind of allegiance to this person.
To me, where I see like her having more care, consideration, empathy, sympathy towards Stefan is in some of the other interviews when she talks about how upset he was, how he didn't eat, how he this, that, like, you know, she really.
I think it's still going on. And I think the video was, in my opinion, full of very questionable statements. Greg?
Yeah, ask yourself a question. Whatever this thing I'm doing, is it rational and can withstand the light of day? Especially when it regards your children.
Yeah.
But just in general in life, hey, if somebody asked me, would I have to come up with justification for this? Well, if the answer is no, you're probably doing something okay. But if you have to think about, if I were in court and I had to make up a reason why I'm doing this, okay, there's this guy who lives in your house.
Maybe you should be doing
and
it.
He needs to sleep in another room, and you are tired. And whatever that list is, make him sleep in her bedroom, make her, whatever it is, just be rational. And
I agree. It's kind of like if you have to hide that you're doing something, or if you are ashamed or embarrassed that you have to tell if you have to tell what you're doing, maybe you shouldn't do it. Maybe you should do things that you're proud of. Maybe you should make decisions and, you know, that's like, I've been told that my whole life from my dad. If you have to keep it from me or you have to hide it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know, you should do things that you're proud of. You should be proud to tell people who you are and what you do, period. If you're not, you maybe shouldn't be doing it. And that's just the facts. In my opinion.
Everybody said it to now. The most important thing in your life is try to protect your kids as best you can. This is a tragedy. I don't know. She has not been charged. I don't know if there's a chargeable offense, but it certainly doesn't look good for her, regardless of whether it's chargeable or not. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great example of seeing someone who knows they've done something wrong, who knows their behavior was not the thing to do and not the way to be, and watching somebody slowly close in on them, and where there's no way out of it. That's what's happening here. We'll put some links below to some places that'll tell you what to look out for for child abuse. So if something's happening at school or something's happening with a neighbor, some signs you can look for in their body language. We could do a whole show on that, but we'll put some links down there for you.
Okay, so Mark says, my biggest question is, where were the other adults in Maddie's life? Okay, so I can answer this somewhat. Maddie's dad lived in Texas. He saw Maddie in October, but before that, it had been 2 years. They didn't have a custody plan worked out, but they did have a schedule out. So they did have a plan like within themselves, just not within, like they didn't go to court for it. So he was in her life, but not all the time. He didn't talk to her often or see her often. Now, Jenn's mom, seemed to really love Maddie and her sister, her family, her dad, be close to Maddie, but based on Jenn's blog, it seems like she's had a lot of problems with her mom dating back to when she was a young adult. But also we hear from her ex-husband that her mom can be a lot sometimes and they don't get along the best always. And we know that Jenn's mom wanted to be the one that watched Maddie and helped with Maddie when Jenn was working and stuff like that. But Jenn said that she wanted Stefan to do it because then she got to see Maddie more. So that's why Stefan was there to help with Maddie, because then she would get to see her, because if her mom was helping, Maddie would be at her mom's house or whatever. So she did have other adults in her life, but honestly, all the ones that lived in that town, Jenn had kind of separated her from. And then her dad was, in Texas. So, okay.
Yeah. Where you can go and look at get some information on that. So you'll know what it looks like when you see it, because most of the time, those things you'll see them. Once you know what they are, you'll be able to spot them if you've got that problem. So if you suspect that. So we'll put some links below for some things to go to get a look at that. So, all right, fellas, thanks. This is another good one, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, damn. So that's a wrap. I didn't get to show you my other burn meme. See? Do you need some aloe for that burn? And then look at this one. Oh, snap. All right, before we go, I want to show you guys something. Hold on. Let's see. There is, so like I said, I want to talk quickly because this, I followed this in real time the whole time when Gabby Petito was missing and when they were searching for her. I'll never forget when she was found. So, there's been a lawsuit between her parents and Brian's parents because, of course, he took his own life. He couldn't be held accountable. The parents wanted someone to be held accountable, and Brian's parents helped him cover it up. They were told by their son what he had done. So the body cam came out of when police first went to the house. And oh my God, you guys, you got to see this. So Duty Ron put out a video. He's also ex-law enforcement, retired New York Police Department detective. Let me show you. Here's his page. I'm going to get his link and drop it in the chat. I want to show you one of his videos. Okay, so there are some ex-law enforcement officers on the platform that I don't really have a lot of faith in, and I don't put a lot of trust in. I'll be honest with you guys. Miss Coffindaffer is one of them because she has fallen into rumors and speculation, having Dog the Bounty Hunter on, discussing Sebastian's case. They don't even know the details. They don't know the facts. It's infuriating. But I know that we look at, I personally really take it to heart with most ex-law enforcement, including Duty Ron. Have a ton of respect for him. I really do. So his channel says straight talk on true crime, personal safety, and more from a retired New York Police Department detective. So he just put this video out. Wade Wilson and Brian Laundrie, a tale of two dads, two sons, and two very different outcomes. I don't want to watch the part about Wade. That's not why we're here. I will say I watched the full video though, and it was so sad. His dad, because see, with Wade's dad, he told on him. He turned him in. Like, I don't know all the details, but from the video, you know, Duty Ron explained it that Wade's dad, I guess, got a phone call from him and he was asking for help and to get out of town and stuff. And his dad didn't help him. He literally called the cops and turned him in. Then he went and visited him 3 days later and said, look, I had to. You know, you have to do what's right. You can still fix this. I think one of the women was still missing at this point. I'm not really sure. But anyways, his dad supported him, but still turned him in and didn't help him cover up what he had done. He had a lot of sympathy. He said he hadn't slept since he found out what happened to Wade. So the point of this video is like the difference in the two. And I just want to show you what the Laundries did. I'll link the video so you can see it, but I don't know where else, because I saw New York Post had uploaded the body cam, but there was a part that wasn't on there that's on here. So watch, here is when police go to their house. I'm going to show this part. It's just a quick clip, but then at the end, he shows like the full thing again. Like maybe I should just play no, that's when the guy comes back. Okay, so this is the first officer that comes, and then there's a sergeant who comes. Watch what was happening. It's crazy to see if you followed in real time. If you didn't, Brian Laundrie took the life of his girlfriend, drove back across country in her van and went to his parents' house, and his parents literally wouldn't talk. They wouldn't tell police. They knew what happened. There's, evidence now that Brian told them what he had done. They got him a lawyer and refused to help at all. And Gabby's parents were just begging, please, we just want to find her. We just want to know she's okay. It had been 10 days since her phone was on and, it was awful. Okay, so watch what these parents did. This just came out. It was just released. Hold on. LGZ, thank you so much for joining. All right, watch this, you guys. Gabby. You can't hear it? Can you guys hear it? Okay. I don't want to play this because I know a lot of you are watching this with Melissa. So here's where the officer calls his detective in the car, okay? Listen to what the detective says about the investigation. I'm sorry, but look, I'm not saying that I would myself turn my kids in. I might talk them into turning themselves in, but it's all about like life. I don't care if you're a kid, an adult, who you are, you have to hold yourself accountable and be held accountable for what you've done. And especially if it affects other people, and especially if someone loses their life because of it, Naomi says, I lost all respect for Jennifer Coffindaffer with Sebastian's case. It's been disgusting. There wasn't sound at first. Can you hear it now? No? So you don't hear his dad? You didn't hear any of that? Okay. Damn it. Hold on. I do need it. Where? We can't hear shit. Hold on. Let me just do like a Google search and see if I can find just the body cam. Brian Laundrie parents. What the hell? That is so weird. I wonder if it's because I'm going to stop my screen share. News Nation has a video on it. Let me stop screen share. I think they're going to play it on News Nation. Let's look at this. I do not want to hear those two idiots again. Okay. I'm here now.
Dodge and resist every single question from the Northport officers on their doorstep. I mean, you can't believe it, but it's right there. You're going to hear it. All while Brian, Gabby's fiance and killer, is somewhere inside the house. And they say he's in the house. And there's also the van. He drove back to Florida alone. That's in the driveway. The footage was obtained by Fox News Digital.
Ooh, I should find it there, but...
Northport Police Department.
Yes.
How you doing, sir? I apologize for bothering you. I have the detective on the phone.
Yes, I think they play it off.
You don't want to talk to us? Okay, she's on the phone. You don't want to talk to her now?
No.
Okay. When was the last time that you saw Brian and Gabriel?
Sorry, my knees and my ankle popped. I sound like an old lady. Sleuthy, I was going to message you anyway, like on Twitter. I don't know, like I know you're on there, but my account, I don't even hardly tweet. So, or on Facebook, let me know where, I don't know if News Nation plays all of it. Did Fox News post it on their website? I'm going to Google search it. But yeah, should I message you on Twitter or Facebook? Because yeah, I was going to message you anyway. And I don't even know if you're on Facebook, but yeah, let me know.
Well, Brian is here.
Brian is here?
Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say.
And that's why they're here?
Yeah, we have an attorney. They've been calling. I don't know. That's all I want to say. I don't know why so many attorneys aware they're calling. So I can give you his number.
Whose number? The attorney's number?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like that, please, so I can give it to the detective. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And just to let the detective know, is Gabriel here? Or
No.
She's not here. Okay.
So I don't think they play the part. It looks like there's a part where the cop's in the car talking to like dispatcher, detective, maybe detectives out west. I'm not really sure who that is, but they're kind of explaining the situation. We're going to miss that, but I want you to see when the sergeant comes back specifically.
I was here last night.
Yeah. Okay. So is this her vehicle? Her van?
It's both of them.
Is both of them? Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chris, this is Sergeant Selzer with the police department.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I hate to bother you. I know you've already said you don't want to speak or don't want to help us. I'm trying to figure out something for parents. You guys as parents, all they want is their daughter to know that she's safe. So I don't know where it all started before. I don't know what's transpired.
To know this is what was going on at the time when we were all watching, like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. I'm going to put my thing up though, where there's my email and my Facebook account on the bottom of the screen. All right. I wonder why you guys couldn't hear On Duty Wrong, because he played it all.
I don't know anything about that. I'm here to know if you guys know anything, it would let the parents at ease and go from there.
Well, we don't know anything.
Okay.
That's all.
I mean, anything that you guys would be able to give them is any type of help. Last time your son saw her, anything like that. Am I able to talk to your son? The other officer said
he's not going to talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can you imagine him sitting in there while the cops are there? They're nervous as can be. I still think we don't have the whole truth of how everything happened with him going to the reserve. I don't know. I have a lot more questions. It's really frustrating. I cannot imagine how her family must feel. My heart truly does go out to them. Can you imagine seeing this family that, you thought they cared about your daughter? They were like, she was like an aunt to his sister's kids. and close with the whole family. She lived there, for God's sake. And they don't give a fuck. They straight don't care. Sorry. She's out in the woods, out in the park. Was it Wyoming? I can't remember what state it was now at this point, but it was a national park out west, and she's laying there, you know, in the elements, and you just don't care. It's so important at that point when someone has passed away and they're out there to get them quickly so that you can have some kind of like services and also to know what happened to them. And oh my God, it's so frustrating. Trash humans. Trash. Not only do they not care, but this 100% confirmed to me they knew he killed her. I agree with you. So didn't he call back and tell them, didn't something come out that he had called them and said like, Gabby's gone and I need an attorney or something like that?
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna lay it out for you if you want. The
Lay
New
it
York
out.
detectives are a little pissed, and they want me to do a whole bunch of things that I'm trying to
Well,
avoid.
then you have to do what you got to do, and you're not going to. That's that.
Okay.
So they've
I mean-
accepted there's going to be an investigation. You know, they're probably going to find out, but I'm not going to help them. Do what you got to do.
As a parent, you wouldn't want to know where it happened with
I
yours.
It
understand
was
what you're saying,
Wyoming.
but
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
That's what I thought.
I mean,
No, we're not going to.
it makes it very odd, don't you think? From my point of view,
Well,
Chris.
goodbye for now. You can call our attorney and give your phone number.
I don't have your attorney, and an attorney's not going to answer at 10,
No,
11 o'clock at night.
I'm not speaking to anybody.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay,
Yeah,
Roberta, go ahead and butt in because now she's got to take control. No. That's enough. My husband has talked to you enough. Come on, honey. Sleuthy says, yeah, I didn't know they tried. Okay, so yeah, they tried to spin that to mean she left him or whatever, which could be believed. But this right here, they knew she was dead. Wow. So like Gabby's gone, like, oh, it's over. You know, or yeah, she left, she took off. Oh my God. Wow. I completely agree with you. They knew she was dead. If it was not for those YouTubers, they may not have found her for a long while. So they really, really suck. Well, that's the thing. So I guess they were searching like near that area anyways, but it's a very big, you know, it's out like creeks and all kinds of shit you have to cross to get to her, but you're going through some rough terrain at times and it could have taken longer. Also, wildlife could have gotten to her. Who knows what could have happened? But so some YouTubers who were van life YouTubers just happened to have been in that area and saw all the talk about this, and they went back through their footage and saw the van at a certain spot, and she was found like a couple 100 yards away from the van. Do you think they knew Brian was going to take his own life when he fled? You know, I'm not convinced they didn't have some sort of plan for him to leave. And didn't Roberta go and look at, oh my God, it's all coming back to me now. Like, I feel like there was some sort of evidence that maybe they were trying to help him escape. Let me keep playing it. I can't believe they weren't charged. Well, this is something that Duty Ron points out in his video. So he's like, Wade put his dad in a bad situation, telling him what happened because dad didn't want to be harboring a fugitive. Ed was like, well, that didn't happen with the laundries. Look, they didn't get charged at all. It's bullshit. Even law enforcement officers are like, why were they not charged for something? Obstruction, anything. I mean, it's your right to remain silent, but you can't help cover up a crime. You can't, I don't know. There's gray area, and I'm not an expert. I don't know. Sleuthy says they literally complain in this footage of Gabby's parents reaching out to them over and over. Are y'all serious? Chris and Roberta are actual trash that belongs in a dumpster. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're sick of being bothered, It's too much for them. Can you imagine? Like, yeah, they should. I think they should have been charged too. Like I tell you guys all the time, I'm not an expert. I'm just a mom who likes true crime, a normal ass person who likes to hang out with y'all and talk about this stuff. Okay. But to me, I don't understand. I just don't. How did they know they needed to remain silent? For what? Unless you knew a crime occurred. Excellent point. That is an excellent point. Because why else would you not want to tell what's going on unless what's going on is something that obviously is going to get you in trouble, get your son in trouble, whatever. Couldn't they have detained him at one point? Like, I know that you can detain someone for like 48 hours without arresting them. I'm almost certain of it. I mean, it's pretty sad because it's too bad that he got away without being punished. Gabby's parents deserve to see him face, a jury and be locked up for life, in my opinion.
So that's that.
Can you imagine? All they had to do was say, Brian's right here behind the door. He's in the house. Bring him out. Let the police talk to him. But they didn't do that. They didn't answer anything.
Hold on.
8 days later, Gabby's body was found in a national park in Wyoming. And weeks after that, Brian killed himself at a Florida nature preserve, leaving behind a confession to killing Gabby. And how exactly do I know the date about Gabby's body being found? Well, it's because I was standing in Wyoming with Gabby's stepfather, Jim Schmidt.
Okay, just a second. That's lovely, but didn't mean to put that up. Let me just look and see where else it was uploaded. So I know New York Post uploaded it, but they didn't upload the full thing. But let's just go over there and watch it for. Hopefully the sound works. I don't know what the hell's going on, like truly, but just to see. If not, Duty Ron, I dropped his link. He played it in full, including the officer in the car talking to detectives, which was really interesting to see.
Sir, I apologize for bothering you. I have the detective on the phone.
I'm not talking to anybody.
You don't want to talk to us?
No.
Okay, she's on the phone. You don't want to talk to her now?
No.
Okay, it's when was the last time that you saw Brian and Gabriel?
Well, Brian is here.
Brian is here?
Yeah, and that's
And that's why you're saying?
yeah. We have an attorney. They've been calling. I don't know. That's all I want to say. I don't know why some of the attorneys aware.
Okay.
They're calling. So I can give you his.
Hold up. I want to read this, Lucy. I had looked for your message, like where to message you, but I didn't see the response. So I did find it from Fox, I believe. Let's see. Gabby Petito body cam. I'm not talking. It's Fox News. Okay, but first I want to read this because it's important to me. Mark says, as a family member in a situation similar, breaking, one of the last people with my brother to law enforcement. That is complete. So I told you guys, and please check out my community tab so you can learn about Harry. Harry's been missing since July 1st, I think it is, 1984. And that's bullshit. Cooperate. Why would they not have wanted to speak to law enforcement? Why wouldn't they seek them out? Unless there was a reason not to. It doesn't make sense. And I'm so sorry, Mark. That is just such freaking bullshit. It really is. All right, one second. I do have it pulled up, but it's wanting to be difficult with me. It's like a 6-minute. Okay, yes. This is the full one, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sleuthy, but it says 9/11 though. So maybe not. Hey, Steph. So that can't be right. No, it is 9/11. Okay, so that was right. What? That's not the right date, though. Wasn't it August? I don't think it's going to cooperate anyways. I did find it, though. It is correct because in the article, I see it. It's just not wanting to load for me. Well, it's okay. It's not, I just wanted to bring up the point that that was released, and my God, it's really frustrating. Oh, it's working now, I think. Let's see.
Us and our borders. Dom Davis and Kamala
6
Harris
minutes,
failed
58 seconds, so I haven't even seen it all. I've probably seen 3 minutes.
We're seeing human trafficking. Don Davis and Kamala Harris will not secure our border.
All right, let's get
for the content of this advertising.
get along. Here we go. No, I have not seen it all. But no, here, let me mute for a second.
Northport Police Department.
Yes.
Hi, then, sir. I apologize for bothering you. I have the detective on the phone. For now. Okay.
Well, Brian is here.
Brian is here,
Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say.
and that's what you're saying.
Yeah, we have an attorney. They've been calling. I don't know. That's all I want to say. I don't know why some of the attorneys are aware
Okay.
they're calling. So I can give you his number.
Whose number? The attorney's number?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like that, please, so I can give it to the detective. Thank you.
Her van is in the driveway, which the dad tries to say is their van. Like, no, excuse me, no.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And just to
I
let
was here last night.
yeah. Okay, so is this her vehicle? Her van?
It's both of them.
It's both of them?
Bullshit.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hello? Yeah. Yes. And I tried. All right. I'm gonna know. They said that Gabriel's not here. That's all they're saying. That his son is here, but Gabriel's not, and they're not talking. And then he said that they're tired of being harassed or being called. That by the family. Okay, and his name is Steven Bertolino. That's the attorney's number, and his office number. and his cell phone is.
Oh my God, that noise. Wasn't Steven Bertolino eventually charged in this civil suit or whatever? Or not charged, but served, in part of it? Sued?
I'm gonna. Is there anything on my part that I can do to assist you? I mean, do you need me to notify my detective bureau? Yes. Okay.
What information I have here, her parents last physically heard from her on August 27th, and they were supposedly out in Wyoming. His sister now just told me another story about that he left her out there and flew home, and yet you're seeing the van in their driveway, and they won't tell you where she is.
Yeah, and I asked him right now in front of you, who does that van belong to, and he says both of them.
Yeah, it's registered to her, and her family feels that it's hers. So I don't know how it works out there. And her phone's been off now for 10 days, and there's been no contact with her whatsoever. Did it return there? If he supposedly flew home, there's definitely some issues going on.
Okay, you have the tag on the.
Put them in touch with me.
You have the tag on the.
Maybe notify us.
Wow.
Too. I don't know how it works.
Yes, I will. I'll definitely.
I didn't see it.
The tag is Queen Frank Tom Golf 03.
Yeah. Because they were supposedly on this road trip in that van.
Police department. Is it Chris? Yeah. Hey, look, I hate to bother you. I know you've already said you don't want to speak or don't want to help.
This part.
I'm trying
That
to
makes sense,
figure out
Lizzie.
something for parents. You guys as parents, all they want is their daughter to know that she's safe. So I don't know where it all started.
The pretty little young lady who lived with you guys, who became part of your family, who was like an aunt to your grandchildren. That girl, they just want to make sure she's safe. Oh my God, this infuriates me. Like I'm getting angry.
I don't know anything about that. I'm here to know if you guys know anything. It would let the parents at ease and go from there.
Well, we don't know anything.
Okay. I mean, anything that you guys would be able to give them is any type of help. Last time your son saw her, anything like that. Okay.
We've not talked anything.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna lay it out for you if you want.
Lay it out.
The New York detectives are a little pissed, and they want me to do a whole bunch of things.
Search warrants?
Well, then you have to do what you got to do, and we're not going to.
So I mean,
we're not
going to. It makes it very odd, don't you think? From my point of view,
well,
Chris.
right. For now, you can call our attorney and give your phone number.
I don't have your attorney, and an attorney's not going to answer at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
I'm not speaking to anybody.
Yeah, we're not comfortable
Without an
talking to
attorney,
anybody.
so that's that.
Okay. So the van is only registered to her. Okay.
Well, I'm not really sure.
Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm telling you. The title on the state of Florida is it's only hers.
Okay.
So it's not supposed to be here.
Okay,
So I'm going to take a tow truck and get it. Is a car in the way?
that's my car. I can move it.
I mean, so you don't have any issue with us taking the van?
If that's what you're saying, you got to do. You got to do.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm not speaking to anyone.
Oh my
Not
God.
our attorney, but I
Okay.
can move the car for you.
You don't find that odd that you guys
Good
really?
night. Good night.
Okay.
Don't knock on my door.
Okay. Are you going to move the car?
I'll move.
Okay.
Yeah, red flags everywhere. Oh wait, at the end it showed her van. I exited out too fast. Obviously, red flags when they're not going to talk. I mean, my God, I wonder if they ever would have imagined it ended up like it did. But yeah. Anyways, you guys, thank you for being here. We're done. Sorry for raising everyone's blood pressure with two of the most infuriating cases and people situations, Jenn, Soto, and then the laundries. Oh my God. I appreciate you guys being here and joining the conversation. again, Sleuthy, I am going to reach out to you. And yeah, thank all you guys for being here. Mark, thank you for being here and giving your opinions and sharing with us. And again, I am so sorry, and I hope that you guys will go and check out my community tab. I shared a couple things a couple of days ago about Harry, and I will share some. I'll reshare them today, so they're at the top. I plan on making a playlist with all of the videos about Madeline Soto's case, the case against Stephen Stearns. Like sometimes I don't even want to say her name with his name, but yeah. Have a great day. I hope to see you guys later. Tomorrow we'll get back to our regular coffee and crime. And yeah, thank you for everything. Don't forget to check out the video in the description. And as soon as this is over, the first thing I'm going to do is link to Duty Ron in the description. And yeah, I think that's all I played. I lost the Fox article, but I'm definitely going to leave a link to Duty Ron. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the chat. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. I'm going to go get dressed, and hopefully it's sunny here and I can be outside a little bit today because I'm just so sad summertime is ending. But anyways, all right, you guys, talk to you later. I'm not going to make this a 20-minute goodbye, although I could, and I'm tempted, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to let you go. Bye.